Welcome out, ladies and gentlemen, to this RGL.GG Invite Highlander Grand Finals, going down between Kids Next Door and Irene. I am Alto, joined out here right now by Exile, joining me for some pregame analysis. Sigafoo will be on the cast later, and Dolphin behind the scenes. Exile, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing really well tonight. It looks like we have a really good match coming up against K&D and Irene. It's going to be really intense. We have a lot of people watching tonight, so it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. The viewer numbers in the stream are already pretty crazy, and just kind of getting in now, and have to imagine it's only going to go bigger. We'll be getting an in-game announcement in a couple minutes too, so that should be pretty hype as well. I guess then we should kind of get right into this. Just doing some a little, analysis before this, get some people that aren't as familiar with the teams to kind of get caught up on speed. We have Kids Next Door coming in as the #1 seed here. There was a gauntlet-style playoff in the RGL, or a gauntlet-style bracket, in the RGL playoffs, where we had the 4th team playing the 3rd team. The winner of that plays 2, winner of that plays 1. And Irene, the 2nd team, did manage to win against the 3rd seed. Ended up coming in, and we should have this great BO3 coming up. Kids Next Door being, one of the long-time historic names in TF2 Highlander. Think they won their first UGC title way back in season 15, which is 2 or 3 years ago. And since then, they've won more, and they've always just been, very, very solid this entire time. Irene, technically a new team, contains a lot of fragments of the old Dunning-Kruger effect, another one of those kind of legacy names, but definitely with a new spin on it, with, some new faces, especially in terms of Carson, who replaced Carl, and, Billy Saurus. So definitely, again, some big people there, but we do have Sigafoo just now getting in. So Sig, what's up?
I am doing well. Just had to beat the traffic to get here, but I'm excited to be here for the grand finals, and very looking forward to this match.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that sentiment's kind of echoed out along here. Exile, since you were playing this season, you guys ended up coming fourth. What's kind of your take on these two teams, since you've been having to play against them all season, and just who? Well, I guess we'll hold up on predictions for a bit. Wait until a little bit closer to match time. But what's playing against these two teams like?
Man, these teams are both very solid. Irene coming out with a completely different roster than we've ever seen, having a bit of Froyo tech players. We also have a new Flare with like some 8K and Velocity players. We have Speedy. But we have a legendary player like Boar. Playing against him is super, it's scary playing against him because he's going to be hitting every single shot on your team. But playing against them, they're very strong, but Candy is probably just as strong as them, and they have chances to be better than them, honestly. With roster players like Eric being one of the strongest scouts like in Highlander currently, we have people like Nursey being one of the oldest medics that are playing currently, and just have all that experience to call and play well. But we also have new players like Bull on K&D. Like Bull is showing he's a very extremely good demo, very good DM, very strong calls. And we have people like Demento who's been playing with K&D for as long as anyone can remember, really. And he's just been showing that he can really just be the leader of a team and be something like anyone could be super scared against the spy. He's super strong. I feel like it's gonna be a very good match tonight.
Yeah, I just wanted to just jump on top of that. Is that's actually something that will be interesting, is because Irene, who played in the semifinal match against Apollo Dash, very much had a lot of plays. Mad Ring Me, which is a spy for Apollo Dash, had a huge game against Irene, actually top fragging or top pointing for quite a while, went a little bit more neutered, I believe on Viaduct or whatever the map was, but ultimately just had a really, really strong match against Irene. And so I'm kind of wondering if Demento, who arguably is like one of the best spies, potentially even in the world in TF2, is going to even be a bigger thorn inside of Irene, because they did seem to struggle against the spy last week.
Yeah, I think Demento's going to be a huge factor in this match, honestly. He's been playing really well up until playoffs, really doing just the best he can, and he definitely is proving to be one of the best spies, as you said. And I really feel like if he can play well tonight, and he'll probably lead his team to victory. But there's also people on Irene like Fane, who's like one of the most experienced spies out there right now. And he's actually like one of the more recent rostered players for Irene, coming out of his retirement to play for them as a main spy. Just showing that he has definitely de-rusted a lot, and he can definitely prove to be one of the biggest factors in this match as well.
Yeah, well, we are kind of getting into players. I want to shelve this conversation for just a little bit later, because I do want to talk about the maps being played tonight. If you're not familiar with the RGL regular season, had an invite had a unique kind of system where teams had to pick ban their maps every week, meaning that in playoffs, the BO3 selection maps were only between the maps that the teams played in the regular season, and between these two teams we had Product, Upward, Steel, Swiftwater, and the new map Cascade coming through. So starting off, we had Irene banning product, which is a pretty common move for them this season. Jared actually kind of revealed why on the cast last week, saying that they had changed their roster up since their initial time playing product, and they'd feel like they'd be a week behind in practice on any of the other teams. So kind of came out as a pretty solid reason for it, despite some question marks around it, given their team's strong DM capabilities. But we immediately had K&D then picking upward against them, which in week 6, K&D kind of completed their comeback this season and took a really, really dominating win against them on this. So while I think there may have been some questions about, why they'd let this map through, it should, I'd say that upward's definitely going to be K&D side of it. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
I see a really huge shakeup actually. You would expect like a team like Irene to be scared of teams like this on like product and stuff, but they are very confident playing on product now, I guess. And for the fact that K&D to pick upward against them is even more scary because like previous seasons you've been seeing like K&D kind of getting upset maps like upward like that, but them seeing very, very confident on a payload map is something that I'm excited to see. Maybe they're going to pull out some new stuff for this match, or maybe they're going to come out and just do the best they can and just see if they can overturn something.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what they can do here, especially that these teams split rounds during the regular season. That one game, Irene won one game, K&D won the other, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it was K&D who took the payload map, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yep.
And then the next map actually coming up is going to be Cascade, which we saw Irene put out that, equally dominating performance, 4-0ing them way back in week 3. Granted, K&D didn't have their full roster for that game, but given, the kind of domination that Irene put out, where I think it was, in the first round, I don't even think K&D was able to get on the point, only finding that first cap in the second round, and only one of those rounds even being somewhat competitive, I think Irene is still the favorites on Cascade here, and we had some kind of verbal confirmation from Apollo Dosh that Irene on Cascade is a very scary beast, and I guess it's kind of unfortunate for K&D that the map pool in this case was so small they didn't get a ban of their own, but I think it's going to be good because it kind of sets us up where both teams are playing the maps they won against the other one on in the regular season. So if they split those maps as is to be expected, then we're going to have the third map being Steel, be the decider for the entire season, and if it were to come down to that, I'd be super hype about it.
Who doesn't want to see Steel? I mean, come on, that is like the most confusing and amazing map. And the thing I love about Steel is that it really allows you. It's like one of the most strategic stopwatch maps in the game. Like every other game, you got to go through a set series of points, but with Steel, it's really about alternating pressure at different areas to get what you want, and kind of making the team have to respond to you, and then punishing them for the type of responses. And so I think I'm really, really excited. I truly hope we get to go to a third map, not just because I want to see a great game, but just because it'd be nothing better than to give the championship to a team that wins on Steel, with two of the best teams. That really shows you, because if you can win on Steel against top teams, that really means you're doing well, because you have to have everything right, DM it, but mostly strategy more than anything else. And I think that's what makes a great team.
Yeah, I also agree we should get to a third map here. Steel is one of those coin flip maps, but it really shows, like, individual player-wise, just if you can do well and just really be there for your team, it can be one of the most upsetting maps, and it is definitely one of the most upsetting maps in the rotation so far. And I want to see it come to a third map, and these map picks so far are definitely, like, to the team's advantages as they're picked out here. This is going to be a very exciting map for sure, match for sure.
Yeah, even calling back to what Jared had said last week, after Irene took that win over Apollo Dosh, we asked him about what he thought this game was going to come down to, and he said it's really going to be based off of the maps, which I thought was a little surprising, because you kind of go into it, and a lot of the times you expect the team to say, okay, well, we're the better team, even if it's just to psych themselves up, but just saying it's going to straight come down to the maps, and seeing, okay, we got one map where K&D is really favored, one map where Irene is really favored, and then one map that's a total toss-up. I mean, you really couldn't ask for anything more.
Absolutely, and it looks like we're getting pretty close to going live here. We just had a server restart. Our teams are getting onto either side, but I don't. Can we get into predictions now, or should we hold off a little bit longer? Do you think, Alto?
I don't think we will. How many specs do we have? I think we don't have. Do we have 18 in server?
We have 8. Oh, no,
we got Exa in there as our.
Kind of I'm getting baited, just like our viewers.
So I guess let's talk a little bit about players, I guess then, and then once we kind of get that 18 in and hear the ready ups, we'll go with predictions. So I guess then, I guess I'll throw it over to Exile. Who are the kind of major players, or I guess kind of storylines you're looking for here in this match that you think might be really big deciders?
I'm definitely very excited to see the pick classes coming out of Irene. They have some of the most legendary players on their pick class. They have Boron Sniper and Phantom Spy. Definitely some people to be really afraid of. But you know what? I'm very certain that you can see people like Carson and Jared on this map just doing very well if they play around each other well enough. I see a lot of upsets coming from the other Irene combo onto K&D if they really do play well. But on K&D side, you have people like Oblivion who are known for just the amount of playmaking potential that they have, and you also have people like Demento and Space Ghost Coffee, one of the most prominent snipers right now too. You can't put him under the table, honestly. He's definitely one of the stronger snipers as well, and it could be an even SVS if he really does play it well. But you also have flank players coming out of Irene like Etney and Eric. Eric proving to everyone that he's like one of the best scouts currently. And I see that him on a payload map actually is pretty strong. Just from prior playing against him and just knowing how he plays, he can definitely be like a playmaker for K&D. And then you have the K&D combo. They can totally make an upset too. Kresnik with his insane amount of game knowledge, and he can definitely turn a fight like immediately with the perfect call and stuff like that. So I definitely see the pick class in this game being the most like beneficial assets to each team for sure.
All right, and yeah, Sig, what are your thoughts on that then?
Just when it comes down to just like who are the playmakers in the team, I mean, it ultimately to me, I think that I can't really state more than what Exile said there. Like I think individually, like every single player in their respective classes are just at the top. I mean, that's kind of when we look at the top teams inside of Invite, really it's like you kind of have like tiers, and like tier 1 are these two teams right here, and then like there's this kind of gap, and like Apollo Dash, the third place team, actually fourth place team technically, that finished third this season, really gave a good effort and really gave Irene a run for their money. But I mean, when you get to this level, it's like every player individually is like pretty much the best of their class, or like top 2 or 3, and it's really just going to come down to moments. Because that's the thing as I love is when we look at the stats at the end of the game, you can kind of line up, and like most of the time you're going to see two classes right next to each other. But really, you're going to look for the class that has stepped up above. So if Demento went bigger than Faint, for instance, really stepped up for his team, then someone else, on K&D or on Irene is going to need to step up apart from their class. And I think that's kind of, for me, the interesting thing to look, not just like as all these players are doing great, but every individual map, every individual round, who is stepping up that day, who is stepping up that round in order to make it for the team. Because if you're just playing as good as your counterpart, you might not win. You need to play better than your counterpart. And I'm kind of curious to see, which one of our, in particular, our flex classes, but, of all of the classes, who's going to be stepping up better than the others.
Yeah, just real quick out to kind of address some of the concerns of chat. We do have players in the server, but it appears that Boar is having some ping issues to this one, and some of the other servers they're looking at also have some issues for other players, so they're going to try to sort this one out, maybe just hoping that Boar's ping goes down. And Irene does still need another player in server, so we are kind of waiting to solve this out. Apparently some of the servers are getting DDoSed, bad routing to other ones, so bear with us here, and we'll try to regale you with some more expert analysis in the meantime. But yeah, no, I definitely think those are some really good points by you guys. Some of the things I'm looking forward to is that I think you guys mentioned the pick classes a lot. I mean, those are obviously, some of the major impact players. Something interesting that I thought was really cool was in the last match between these two teams on Upward, the one that K&D took a victory in, we saw Boar outfragging Space Ghost, which, if you go off of just kind of individual player perceptions, isn't that much of a surprise. But Space Ghost, the timing and quality of his picks were incredible. Vox actually was supposed to be on the desk today, but he had a family emergency, so he had to step out. And he was there for that. And, the thing that we just constantly notice is that maybe Boar would get 2 kills on a scout and a soldier, and then Space Ghost comes in and would get a clutch headshot onto Sky at 99% to just deny that Uber. So I think Space Ghost is definitely maybe more one of those kind of quality over quantity type of players, whereas Boar just has that ability to, really pull a 4K out of anywhere just to win a fight. So looking at how that's going to shape out, I do think is going to be one of the major things. The other thing here is that I'm looking at is how well Irene is going to be able to shut down Bull. In that Cascade match we saw, Bull's a very aggressive player, as anyone that's, even been in a mumble or in voice with him has known. And
absolutely.
Yeah, just a little bit. He's a very vocal player for sure.
Yeah, vocal
he
both
he definitely gets his point across for sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think that aggression is one of the main reasons why he's been able to rise so quickly in the Highlander scene, where you have a veteran like Jarrett who maybe can win on a consistency basis, But Bull, kind of like Boar, has that ability to just win a fight for you with only shooting 3 pipes, blind, because he knows all of his spam angles, he knows how people are going to move, he knows how to get kills with spam rather than just damage. And I think that's one of his major strengths, but there's 2 sides to every coin, and the other side of that is that he's getting more aggressive to do that. And against teams that have the DM to contest K&D, against snipers with the aim like Boar, they can shut him down. Even on, I believe it was Product, I think that was week 8 or week 7 against Fast Forward, Exile. Your team was in that match. Your sniper Fallen had a great game. He was shutting down Bull left and right. K&D still managed to win, just as I guess they had better players on the whole. But I think you guys saw that was one of the major openings you guys had, and why a lot of those rounds were so close was because he was able to be shut down, and Irene was able to really, really capitalize on that in that Cascade match. Bull was never getting past his own side of the map without immediately getting like 2 pipes, a sniper shot, and a scout running at him. And if they can kind of capitalize on that, then I think they can really gain a lot of momentum. And if he gets shut down in the first map, maybe he gets shut down in the latter ones.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I feel like if Irene can overturn the quality of picks that K&D has the potential of getting, because like you said, K&D they can definitely get the picks that they really need to get, like whether it be a medic that almost has uber charge or like the demo and in a push, like they will get those opportune picks. While Irene, on the other hand, more or less gets multiple frags at once, like during a push, and whether it be the demo or the medic, maybe a flank class or something like that. If Irene, however, can make plays and get the right players, like maybe if they are able to get Nursey a lot in a lot of these pushes and fights, then that will be one of the deciding factors. Because if they are able to shut down Bull while able to get those picks as well, that'll be one of the most beneficial things in this match for sure. If they can keep that level of aggression at that point, then they will definitely just prove how much stronger they are in this match. But it just really depends on the quality of picks that these teams will be needing to get in a push, for sure.
One, you kind of even bring up a good point there, or just at least you said a name that kind of just instantly popped in my mind about getting picks. And because, one of the ways that you can get a push off is getting a force. And so what that means for anybody who's not familiar, forcing a medic is when they have 100% Uber and you suicide a soldier or a demo or even potentially multiple players into the medic. And your goal is to not necessarily kill the medic. I mean, obviously that'd be great, but more importantly, you force them that they think they're going to die. And so they are forced to pop their Uber charge so they stay alive, because it's better to be alive and using their Uber at an inopportune time than it is to be dead and be sizzling on the ground, wishing that you clicked that right side. And so one person is Nursey, always comes up, and it's like, she is one of the best when it comes to not popping, like just having absolute faith in her team of like, oh, I'm down to 10 HP, you just use 3 rockets, I'm not scared, you're not going to hit another one, I don't believe you, and I'm kind of curious with that is that's one player I'm looking out for tonight as well, is that when you're going to see K&D going into Nursey, or sorry, when you see Irene going into Nursey, are you going to see that steal resolve to be able to hold on, or is she going to get punished and drop at inopportune times because of that determination in that trust in her team? As it looks like we're going to be switching servers here again as they're getting it sorted out, but we do have 18 players ready to go. We're just trying to get the server that both teams are happy with. And so as we get sorted up here, I don't know, so kind of, I mean, is there other kind of players that kind of stand out to you guys, of like people who I mean, XL, like who have like particular play styles that are kind of more unique to them?
I'd say Bull and Oblivion have a very unique playstyle in themselves, really. Bull has a very aggressive demo playstyle, but he's very able to make the calls for his team while he's being that aggressive with his insane DM. He's definitely going to make a lot of space for his team to walk in and just make every type of play just work out in the end. And it'll make players like Etney and Oblivion be able to do a lot more too. Because Oblivion, with any space you give him, definitely going to walk in and get a few frags. Could potentially even get med picks in this situation. So the people on Irene definitely got to make sure they're paying attention to people like them. But you also have people on Irene, like, Banny and Habib, definitely players you gotta be aware of, right? You can't let them have free reign in this match, because if you let them just get away with stuff they want to do, they could potentially just completely get your team wiped, right? And especially on a payload map, you don't want to wipe on a point like that. If your whole team dies on a point, you're definitely gonna lose a lot of ground, and their other team probably gonna have medic advantage of Uber charge and stuff like that. And you don't want to keep getting rolled and rolled by these players, so they gotta keep an eye on players like this as well.
Yeah, Banny is absolutely, just to point out, just to say, is like Banny, he's like totally, I feel like he's kind of a hot or cold player when it comes to like Highlander or even the Prolander a little bit, where it's like he will occasionally have like kind of a neutral game, but if you let him go off, like, watch out. Like, that man, when he's on fire, like, he just plays so well. Because the thing that Banny, like, if you let him take good 1v1s against you, like, that's when you start to, like, really feel it. Because he loves to go, from what I seen in played against him, is he loves to go for kind of the flanky plays at times to try to find those openings to get those picks on the side, let alone obviously like during Uber charges and stuff like that, but really trying to find moments to kind of punish enemy teams being out of position, and especially like the non combo classes. Would you say that to be true, XL?
That's absolutely true. I agree with that. I think more plays that he'd like to do when he goes behind, it's more of a setup play, right? If he gets the setup that he needs, he's definitely going to get something done in those plays. And with the right amount of setup, that's what I mean. Like, it's definitely like, if he gets that play off, that is like a huge advantage for his team. Depending if he's going to go for a medic play, or maybe he can go for a few frags on the flank, or it could be anywhere really. He's definitely the type of player that chooses fights properly, right? In any situation, you'll see him going for the right amount of plays, definitely the right kills. He'll definitely be helping his team in those fights as well.
All right, well,
Yeah.
we got. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna follow up on that and say that Banny is just one of those players that can really have such a big impact because he's got such good DM and such a strong understanding of the game. Where even though if I guess from my experience as a player, I guess I'd say as a medic I fear Arik more because he's more often going to be that guy that'll kind of come in like the 1v9 and run past my entire team and just two-shot me.
That's true.
But
yeah.
Banny's going to be the guy always making that percentage play, always helping his team win. Where sometimes he doesn't need to take that risk of running in for that 1v9 when he can take the guaranteed kill by running at your demo man, killing your demo man. Then he knows that Jarrett's going to be putting out enough damage to force you out of a fight, and you just get like bullied out 9v8 rather than needing to kind of leave it up to chance like that. But we do, again, as Sig was going to say, we have 18 people in server. I believe I heard one of the teams ready up, so we should be going pretty soon. Yeah, as chat pointing out, classic Highlander, 15-20 minutes late like always, even with
Well, this is pretty good for having to switch server 3 times. I'd say this is a pretty fast time, but hopefully we'll see. Before we can kind of talk about predictions, but I just want to give a quick shout out for everybody who's not familiar. This is RGL.GG Recharged Gaming League. This is the Highlander Season 1 Grand Finals, the largest North American Highlander League. We had a great first season. We have Season 2 coming up in January. Season 2 registrations will be opening up later this week, pretty much right after the game, but by tomorrow, Season 2 registration will be opening up. But if you want to try Highlander, we also have a cup happening very soon. I believe it's on the 13th and 14th. I'd have to double check those dates, but if you go to exp.rgl.gg, you can sign up for that. It's absolutely free. It's a 2-day event. You play 3 matches. So if you want to give Highlander a try, we're experimenting on some different maps. Get some friends together. We have a looking for team section. You can check that out, or you can join our Discord for some more information. But exp.rgl.gg, you can definitely check that out. And then also, if you guys are interested, we also have a Pro-Lander League. The Grand Finals, as we get started up here, are next week, Monday, on the same channel, so you make sure to check that out. And if you want to try out Pro-Lander, we host North American and EU pugs at rgl.gg/pugs. So that's the RGL.GG pitch. That's a little bit of a tongue twist. I never tried to say it so quickly. By the way, we're live here in setup, and we can check this out, Alto. I'm kind of curious to see if we're going to see anything cheeky, but I'm guessing we're going to see pretty standard setup from Jordan. I mean, that's really the only thing you talk about. I see some crit stickies coming out here. Alto, why don't you explain like what crit stickies are in the pregame setup, or why teams do this?
Yeah, I mean, so sticky traps have always been kind of a constant in comp. Just get them down. Maybe whether you get a cheeky kill on the cart just to kind of stall it out a bit, or maybe bait out a med who's milking his Uber way too far. They've always been in there, but ever since the change happened where you have really increased Uber percentages in pregame, it's been possible where a med can run out, build up a crit screeg, get those crit stickies down just to make even sure, that you get those kills, be able to spread them out, where maybe you needed 2, 3, 4 stickies in one spot for a kill. Now you only need 1 or 2. You get more coverage, and you can still have a scout run a med back to spawn, switch to Uber, and then get Uber right in time, as we see Sky already has. Nursey getting a little frisky, popping some Ubers in pregame to, kind of bump up that point total, also coming up right on Uber now as we get into this, and Boar actually taking out Demento, going to be the first frag of the game.
Yeah, so that Spy isn't going to be getting behind Demento, or it's very common for Spies to go back to spawn, kill the teleporter, or just get set up to go for a sentry gun pick. What's interesting here is actually, here comes in the bomb, Bull going way up top. He's actually using the base jumper. He's putting a lot of sticky damage onto the sentry gun. He takes it down. as Demento's going to be going for a pick on Habib. He actually got spotted out there, and Habib still in the air, floating down, and not going to get too much else, but that sentry gun pick is important, as it's going to allow maybe a push out here as Etni's going to get on top of the roof.
Yeah, we do see some kills going back in Irene's favor, though. Krasnik getting backstabbed, Etni's bomb not going out too well, but something else that I do kind of want to just put a little emphasis on. Bolt did manage to get that level 3 dispenser as well, which while, you know, may seem kind of like, oh, he, you know, dispenser pick, push up, when you take out the level 3 dispenser as well as the gun, that's a lot of metal that Jordan would have had saved up. That means that him building his gun back up to level 3 now is just going to take that much longer, so good on him to kind of have the heads-up ability to go for that. But Ubers are going to get popped out now out of both teams here. Candy not really finding too much off of this gun, really not even getting hit that much at all. Scratchy and President going to be the frags here. Feint gets caught out, but ultimately not too much going for K&D as Irene's putting up a really solid first hold here.
Yeah, very good. Habib almost losing his life, going down below 50 HP, but able to get back, healed up. And one of the other things of not having that dispenser there, I don't want to overemphasize it too much, but Carson is not going to have ammo, so that Heavy, who sits at the stairs of Playground, he's going to have a little bit harder time spamming out, as the Demento is getting himself in a position, still only a level 1 sentry gun up, so KD's been doing a good job keeping the sentry gun down, but really not much besides that. As Habib has been just kind of a thorn. I feel like he's been doing a good job stifling off that far right-hand side area, but KD playing this very slowly, it seems.
Yeah, Board did actually just need a headshot out of Space Ghost, had that overheal on him, so he's not going to go down. Habib also sitting pretty low. Candy getting very aggressive on this hill, but they just can't really find kills that matter right now other than Feint. Scratchy going to go down, you know, Demento getting taken down before he can really get either the pick or the sap he was going for. Space Ghost is up on the hill though, going to take out more, and that's the first major pick that Candy's had to work off of. Kresnik in a good position as Ubers are going to come out again. Pops on both sides, but Candy being a lot more aggressive this time. They already have so many people up on the hill. Space Ghost still actually on top of that little, the little kind of smaller offense hill, going to take out Carson, just being a major threat. Going to take out Jarrett too. Kresnik gets stabbed, but it's not going to be enough. Sky barely gets out with 10 HP, but no, Bull's in, he gets her with the pipe. Gonna take out Habib too with the damage from Etni right before they die, but a fantastic push out of K&D. Just would have been better if they could have gotten off a minute or so earlier.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a slow time for the first point, but that's kind of the fun thing about Upward, is that every single point you can easily sneak an extra minute off of it, if not more, and the first point is no exception. So Eric is going to be moving that card up. K&D a little bit slow getting on top of the hill in second, but Irene is just playing this very passively this time around, as it's going to be Habib playing in the double window, or he's going to try to if he doesn't mess up his jump. But right now, I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to do this. K&D does have a huge Uber advantage, 60%, so they're probably going to go as soon as they go. But here we go, Habib, big bomb in, trying to surf around, onto Space Ghost. He's going to trade his life, wasn't able to locate Nursey in time, and K&D is looking like they want to get aggressive, or maybe they'll just save this and just push the cart for free.
No, they are going to pop out this Uber there. They're actually going really deep in on it. Barrick going to be the primary target on this. Carson's going to get backstabbed. Jordan goes down to some stickies. Sky, fortunately, able to escape with her life, and now it's going to be a 50% Uber ad. But second's going to go in Candy's favor, a much faster time after, you know, kind of being a bit slow on first. Feint called out, will get the stab onto Space Ghost before going down, so no sniper to kind of maybe accelerate this push, as Boar is extremely aggro onto the roller coaster, trying to get shots off onto Cart. Habib getting aggro in the house area. No one on K&D really having taken that yet. Bull gonna go down. Banny super forward, but not gonna continue to chase out on Nursey.
Yeah, the cart, this is the long push up here on the cart. Banny going down onto it alone. Going up against the Heavy with the Fist of Steel. He's not going to be able to secure the kill, but he's going to go actually for this 1v1 against the Engineer, as it looks like K&D, they've been very kind of slow-paced when it comes to their pushes. They're not playing very aggressively, and now with the Heavy down, the Engineer goes down. That cart is not even to the front line of the first path. So here comes in Feint with the decloak. Space Ghost gets the backstab, and so that's just going to make it that much harder for K&D to find an opening here, as Billy Source doing a good job kind of going for those spy checks, as Demento might be seen. He's going to get this. He's on top of Carson's head. Now he gets spotted. And K&D is just going to have to wait that much longer to find an opening to get onto this point.
Yeah, Irene really coming out a lot stronger, I think, than I was expecting them to right now. You know, the last time we saw these two teams play each other on this map, K&D, I think, got a 5-minute time in the first half and less than that in the second. But really solid defense coming up right now out of Irene. Actually see, what was that? That was Feint, really far behind. Banny as well, going to be all the way back on that playground at second. Nursey, though, does have full Uber. Both meds are even, and it looks like Bull's going to get aggressive here. Maybe smelling a push coming soon. Yeah, Ubers are going to get popped up to Candy super early right now. Sky still hasn't even used. Billy doing a great job of stuffing Bull. out. He's not going to get knocked off the cliff, thankfully for K&D, but that Uber is not going to do anything as Sky's still sitting with hers, and K&D is going to get the cart up that first ramp, getting some momentum to maybe get it on the second, but still going to have to do something about that gun and that Uber if they really want to cap this.
Yeah, we'll see what they want to do. Eddie's running into Banny in the C house. But that's kind of the problem there. Uber was popped off so early because they didn't have visual on the sniper, so they weren't sure how close he was. If they waited for Demento to get into position, they might have been able to have a little bit of a better push, or at least to get a sap on the C gun. Here goes Eddie. The Wrangler rolls up. He goes for Sky, gets her down to 50 HP. Scratchy, though, pushing the sentry, the cart up here. Jarrett's so far back, they get the second hill for free, and here comes out the Uber charge. They're going to go forward with it. They're going to focus on the gun. The engineer is not even going to die
surf.
there. Great surf out of Scratchy. And Jarrett's going to eat a body shot, going to have to run all the way back, but the cart's in a good position to go forward here. He can potentially even sneak it, and that's what Demento's going to try, is he's going to get on top of it.
Yeah, Space Ghost going to take out Boar here. Should help open up some of this cart pressure. Scratchy and Demento getting on it. Scratchy's going to go down to a flare, though. Banny's going to force Jacob to kind of cloak away. Something that I don't want to understate is actually, no, Ubers are going to get popped out right now. This is ad for K&D. Billy doing a great job of stuffing this, but they're going to get kind of forced back. Eric's still on cart, has it halfway up the hill. Banny does his best to stop it, but he feeds Nursey over a saw. But no, Jarrett comes in just in time to take out Eric for the hill. Crests the, or the cart, excuse me, crests the hill right at the end there. I'd been going to say that Kresnik getting into bucket right when, brain farting, that Uber got popped off kind of helped them get that in, but Irene really coming up clutch there, getting that final kill onto Eric just to make sure that they don't get the, they don't get that last hill.
And I believe Nursey was pushed off the cliff. I turned my head away for a second, but I see Billy Soares with a kill feed onto Nursey. But Boar getting taken down. There's no sniper here for the defense, and a lot of pressure. They're just doing a death ball onto the cart. They pick up another one, and so here you go, ×3 onto it. They're going to force Jarrett to have to try to contest it. A lot of damage onto it, but they get it up the hill. That's the most important part. This is now in spy cap range. Scratchy is there with Etney, going to be pushing back Habib. But they got what they wanted out of that situation. They lost Bull in the process, but now Edney's going to get onto the cart. They're going to force Irene to have to do something, but no, Edney's going to get this for free. Great job out of K&D pushing that for free.
Yeah, I mean, it was good on them to kind of just bully that cart up with the Uber pop out of Nursey. You know, that's one of my favorite kind of strats to do is just you Uber in, you don't even go for frags, you just be enough of a, you know, distraction that they can't get to your cart pushers, because upward third is so based off of getting that cart up the final hill, but you know, even despite that being a good push, it's still a 7.5 minute time through 3 for K&D. You know, that's kind of the time you'd like to see for a last push, and you got to think Irene's already kind of going to be favored to take this half, as they have a pretty solid upper hold. Both meds are equal Ubers, so they're not going to be able to kind of snowball this momentum. See if Etney or Demento can maybe do anything to get in and give K&D an advantage they can push off of.
But this is also the hardest point to be able to get a pick off of. You know, the spy, it's so claustrophobic in the up area to get something. The sniper, he's not going to get a sight line at all. Kresnik is peeking the corner. He does win the 1v1 against the heavy, and so they're going to be down Uber during this Uber exchange. No real damage, obviously, going out to either team, but they're not pinstering them either. Nobody's pushing up from the back stairs. But right now, K&D's, oh no, Jarrett, beautiful job. A lot of damage, takes down one, but Kresnik is still alive, and here comes an Eric onto the demo. He gets it, now Sky's going to be alone, being taken out from either side. Engineer and Scout action on top of it. The cart's moving forward continually. It's going to be the Jordan trying to defend this, but Kresnik is doing what he can. The two are taken out on cart, and it looks like Irene is going to hold on to this.
Yeah, pretty crazy how they were able to just kind of take that even Uber fight into upper and still come out with a victory, but ultimately, you know, it took long enough that some spawns were able to come in, cart pushers were forced off, and Jacob going in, gonna get is he gonna get past the dispenser block? He will. Not sure if Jordan's gonna expect that. No, he could maybe get right onto Boar, and he's gonna do that, just gonna try to revolver him down. Does find the sniper pick, no one on cart though, as it looks like Irene's gonna try to go back through lower, take back that upper hold. Bull, though, is shooting stickies down, going to do his best to try to stop that.
Bull going down incredibly low. He's going to have to back up to get some heals, but that when they see them in lower, that means they know upper is free, and so they're going to rotate back up there. Habib, very low, should get taken out here. Eric will kill him, and then Eric's actually going to go for Banny in this 1v1. Well, no, Banny gets the meat shot after going down to 20 HP. Great job there of just individual plays stepping up. And so, no, Irene's in a little bit of a position outside of main. It's always just a risky one to play out of because Bull is just spamming down on them with Etney, and here comes an Etney putting Sky, but great job of Sky surfing away that damage. Able to get back out to spawn, but they lose Jarrett in the process.
Yeah, I want to point out that Demento got past the dispenser block again, able to stab more and take out Jordan's gun right now. So He's going to come back up on minis, but those are going to be taken out of Bull, sitting in upper. Space Ghost does have upper to snipe out of, but no, Banny's going to make a big play, taking him out, clearing up that sightline again. Boar had done it previously. Banny now kind of taking up the responsibility, as K&D still just struggling to get in here. Nursey, it looks like, had gone down in that, so she's only going to be on a 10-15% Uber or so right now. Sky still having 100%, as it looks like Irene's going to attempt to get back in upper again, this time a lot more successfully. Sky actually is going to get forced out. Bull doing a good job getting that Uber out of her, but unfortunately the upper hold is kind of back into force for Irene right now, and they're going to need to wait for Nursey to hit 100 if they really want to do something about this.
And I just really want to underline here is that we've talked about all this action, but the most important storyline right now is K&D is taking forever to get this point. I mean, we're easily at a 10-minute time, inclining ever higher. And in Highlander, like a 7-minute time is a fast time, give or take. 8 minutes is more close to average. And so when you're in the top level and you're hitting this kind of a long game time, it's really working against you. And as you said, this is looking like Irene's match. K&D's definitely going to have to pull out some stops on the defensive side, but they are up to 100%. And here you go, Edney jumping out on Sky, gets the fright, gets one more, and will he get out alive? Yes, he will. He gets, actually, no, Carson will take him down, but they take control of the upper area. And with those key picks, we'll see if they'll be able to work off of them and get some more grounds.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's only 3 players alive, 2 players alive for Irene right now. Banny's going to spawn in, but Arik is only just now getting on card. Kresnik going to drop down as well. Banny actually going down through lower, taking a bit of a wraparound path. He's going to get taken down immediately, and it looks like that is going to be enough for Candy to cap, but it's going to be in a 12-minute time. Not something that you really want to be seeing here, you know. And pretty much any level of play, especially this one, because Irene's going to have more than enough time to fail some pushes, and even then some if they want to still take this map.
Absolutely. This will be curious to see what K&D is going to be able to do on the defense, but even that final push there, which is so strange. I mean, as you said, they went down with players like so low in the player count, and then like the Pyro came up from behind of Billy Saurus, and then Nursey had to drop down, and then like it was just really strange fight, but it kind of, I mean, ultimately sometimes that's what those kind of fights you need to win that are not necessarily the most coordinated, but they kind of just work out because of individual players kind of just stepping up there. But as we get set up here, you can kind of see a little bit of a different strategy going with a little bit of a safer Sench gun, whereas we saw the engineer for Irene of Jordan, he went with a little bit more of an aggressive one using the Wrangler. So this one might be able to be kept alive a little bit easier, but I'm kind of curious to see if Irene, we saw K&D not really go for a lot of suicide waves, just one with Bull. So I'm curious what we're going to see out of Irene with their strategy when it comes to, are they going to go for a suicide wave to try to get a force on the enemy medic?
I'd imagine with the amount of card time you have to push up before you can really, you know, get a first cap, there's no real harm in doing so, especially when you have this much time. They could probably run 2 or 3 if they really wanted, and, you know, still probably even out K&D's time with their first cap having been 2.5 minutes. We do see those crit stickies up again coming out of Bull. Boar gonna get on the roof pretty early, going for some shots, not gonna find anything yet. Vanny on the bonk, gonna come in on top of Playground just to scout some things out. Calls that Kresnik is gonna be up there. Jarrett gonna get a little aggressive, gonna go down. Feint getting caught out behind as well, not able to get that sap. So the level 3 will remain up for now. I believe that's some direct hit coming out of Habib though, yeah it is. So he's gonna be doing some damage to that gun. Scratchy having to keep the Wrangler shield on to not lose it. Boar aggro on the hill, and that same shot we saw Space Ghost get to when KD finally took the point back in that first round, but still Sky only just now coming out of spawn, meaning we should see a push soon.
Yeah, I'll be curious what they do. I just want to do some quick stat lines here. Last round, Boar top fragged with 15, Feint with 13 frags. So here we go, Overcharge should be used out from the blue side. Now it's going to be responded to in the red, about 20% better for the defensive team, as Edney is going to be dealing with Banny, who's going all the way behind, and they're taking a fight on the second hill. Banny should win this fight. No, actually the 2v1 is going to go in the favor with Eric, as they're going to try to get back in time, but Scratchy is down, so no engineer here on the first point. Demento, he's going to go for a stab on the card, gets Carson, gets Jarrett, and so that should slow Irene down, but oh no, Feint, oh, so close to getting the stab onto the enemy team, but K&D's going to stabilize here off of those plays.
Yeah, Boar though, gonna take the kill onto Bull. That's gonna be pretty big. Space Ghost takes him out immediately after though, so no sniper on offense makes this a difficult point to push. Nursey, Etney, and Kresnik, really the only major power classes here. Billy's gonna kind of bot in, get some WM1 on them, try to find a kill, but barely fails at taking down Etney. Actually, that's the battalion's gonna get popped to help them back out. Really smart play from him. Means that Boar's not gonna be able to find any headshots onto them right now. We have a bomb coming in from Jared, but it's not going to do too much as Nursey's still alive. Gets very low though, but no, Vanny running out of tunnel gets the force on her. Only 30 HP means that it will be almost full add into the favor of Irene right now. Sky sitting at 85% or so. The W1 coming out of Oblivion. She's going to go down. He hits the flare right as he dies. Fantastic play coming out of him. Exile mentioned his aggressiveness in the opener, how he'll take any space you give him. And after Nursey gets forced like that, he immediately evens out the Ubers and keeps Ad on the side of K&D.
And now Irene's going to be the one getting aggressive on Hill. Don't even have medics, but here they go. They're doing what they can, but 2 players go down early on in this fight, and they're going to lose another one. Boar is trying to find a sightline as he's being healed up by Sky. Demento's going to get the backstab. No, misses it as Bull gets some damage onto him. Jarrett going down incredibly low as well, and that's going to force him to have to back up. K&D has to be careful not to give too much free ground to Irene on this hill, because this hold, this is where he can get a lot of time off of this, even potentially get a full hold. I mean, they only have to defend this for 5 minutes and 30 seconds if they want to try to end the game here, though that is a pretty hard thing to do. But right now you can see Irene rotating down to tunnel.
Definitely hard to full hold any team at, a point that isn't last, but something I'd wanted to say coming into this is that having played against K&D in seasons past, their second holds were always some of the strongest holds on any point. But Jacob gonna come in from behind, takes out Sky on Hill. Gonna maintain again that Uber ad for Nursey. K&D is getting forced back kind of into the passive spot. Fate actually, oh no, never mind. The wall vision that we have in spec kind of baited me out for a sec. He's actually just back at spawn. But Carson in the window gonna force out Nursey as Eric and Bull coming in to clear the cart. Jared gonna go down.
He's behind.
But that's Carson. That's Carson in the window gonna take out Etney. Barely able to not find the angle onto Nursey. Gonna get forced back, but looks like there's going to be solid hill control for Irene right now, and Jordan's should be able to tap this card in as K&D backs up to third.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get this. Nice job. I thought K&D was going to be able to get a second point defense up there again, but it's a good job by Irene spacing themselves out, being able to kind of collapse, so basically expand out, avoid the Uber. Oh no, backstab Fink coming in, taking down Nursey. And I mean, that is, as much as that backstab is not great, this is a very long point to be able to get the cart to, so obviously, Nursey's going to be, at least about a 70 to, probably about 100% disad as she's still down for 6 seconds. That was a really bad respawn wave she got put on, but maybe, just maybe, they'll have a chance given how far the cart has to go.
Yeah, you'd like to see K&D even so a little bit more aggressive here. Sky only at 90 now. They could have maybe been a little bit forward supporting Space Ghost. Let him shoot some of those cart pushers as Carson and Banny have really just been ×3ing this thing all the way along. Boar's going to get taken out by Space Ghost, so a really good frag for them to kind of open this back up on. Feint going to get, or actually that's Habib getting caught out. Thought he heard a spy. Uber will get popped out though. That's Oblivion doing a great job stuffing it. Sky going to not get blown off the cliff, but kind of blown off of that top area, meaning that they're not going to take too much on this Uber. Frags are heavily in Irene's favor, though, and with Banny and Jordan on card, they only need one more hill to get it up. Looks like K&D's just going to have to call it and back out to upper, but 7-minute timer for holding last, not something to be envious of.
Not at all, as they are going to be able to roll this up. But as good job there. Actually, it's a beautiful air headshot out of Space Ghost, taking down Jared as he's backing out there. But you can see aggression coming out of Irene. They're just trying to go into upper. But it's going to be Nursey who's coming up onto Ubercharge here very early on, but Billy Soares is the first forward to his team, so he can kind of blow it back if he needs to. Feint is going to get into the upper area behind. He might be able to use this as a distraction. Run up, gets Bull, he will, and so no Demo Man in this upper area as he gets out alive. Now Banny's going to run into the big man of Kresnik, but here we go. Edney goes down, so no explosive classes to defend this upper area as both medics come up to 100%.
Yeah, kind of a bit of a tenuous spot for Nursey to be in. A Sky has come up onto Uber right now, and it looks like they're going to be going lower. It's going to get popped in the back stairs onto Jared. Nursey gets a very good milk off. Going to solo onto Kresnik here. Bull went down, not sure where. I think he jumped up but was low HP and didn't get caught in that Uber. Ultimately, though, Feint and Banny going to go down. Jared as well, so it looks like it's going to be a successful hold for K&D here, as just, they weren't able to really get anything off of that Uber. Sky being forced back out to, outside of last. K&D showing that they can hold last for some amount of time, but that's 1 minute down, 5.5 to go, as Boar's going to get a nice shot onto Space, and that should help maybe get a little bit of cart time up, but ultimately it looks like they're not going to do too much off of it.
Yeah, I mean, you called it out. It was a great job by Nursey delaying popping the Uber because they knew Kresnik wouldn't die, but now he will in the 1v1 against Carson. As Habib comes in, huge plays, 3 going down, make that 4, and there's only 4 players left alive here. It's going to be Eric trying to defend the cart, but the mini sentry is going to be covering it above, and with 8-second respawns for the majority of the players, Oh, this is looking very good for Irene, but they still don't have anybody on carts.
Yeah, Carson's going to drop down just now, but that gave time for a big respawn wave to come in for K&D. They have a lot of players on cart, and Oblivion's going to walk in, maybe try to take some distraction. He's going to go down, and he gets a good jump, but he's going to get blasted into the pit, and it looks like Irene is going to be taking... Oh, the Uber gets popped out just for trips, but no! It stops the cart from going, and Jacob's going to stall long enough to have Carson go down. Players back on cart, though, with 7 down on K&D. It looks like that will be enough. Space Ghost, the only man out on the field, not able to land 4 quick scopes in that amount of time. So we will see the first round here going over to Irene, but this is a best of 3. So K&D can still take this map should they win the next two halves here. But Irene really coming out with a statement round with, just I think we were kind of implying that since K&D had won on this map in the regular season, they'd be the favorites for it here. But 12-minute time, 12-minute defense followed by what? That was probably around a 7 or so. 7.5 minute offense, putting Irene in a really good spot right now, especially with Cascade coming up next.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely K&D's point where they need to kind of figure out where they went wrong inside of their offense, and then, just sort that out. Because Irene's time, it was very good, as you said, but it is definitely not a beatable time, and it's definitely a time that K&D can put up against Irene. But looking through these logs, I mean, we're talking about Boar ahead of time, and obviously he was the big man right here, top fragging in that round. I think he top fragged obviously in the first round. I noticed that, but only picking up a few more to be able to hold on to that one. Eric, though, doing great work for his team at 21 frags. But I mean, as I said, you got to look at the differences between the two teams. A lot of the classes, they're going to be right next to each other. But you look at Space Ghost, who bottom fragged, and Boar, who top fragged. And I think one of the reasons that we got to point out to that is because of just how good Feint has been on Spy at focusing down Space Ghost. 7 kills, almost half of the deaths to Space Ghost have been to spies. And so Space Ghost, I don't know what he needs to do, just be more spy aware, going in and out a little bit more, playing more with the combo, whatever he needs to do to keep himself alive, he needs to do, because as you said, we know he's a great sniper and he can go toe-to-toe with Boar, but it starts to get in your head. Whenever there's a spy around, like, you just can't get comfortable. And it's between Boar and Feint, they've been doing a great job so far to help turn the tide for this game in the favor of Irene.
Yeah, another thing I want to point out too is the demos there. Jarrett 14 and 11, 400 DPM, pretty respectable. Bull though sitting at a 12 and 17 with only 320. So I had brought up kind of in the pregame that if Irene would be able to shut Bull down and make sure he's not able to come out with those really aggressive plays where he just kind of finds kills out of nowhere, then they'd be really well off, and they're doing exactly that. 17 deaths less than the spies had, but that's tied with Space Ghost really for the most of any class that isn't a spy, or Banny's case, who was pretty much just dying going for flanks a lot, but not really what you want to see out of your demo man with that many deaths, because it means he's not putting out damage, he's not putting out pressure, and it just allows Irene to kind of take space for free, be it on offense or defense. So K&D, I think we saw them beat Irene on this map earlier, so we know they have it in them. It's just they're going to need space, I think, in Bull to really kind of step it up, since the rest of their players, none of them really had overly bad games. I mean, some of them had bad KDs, but when you're pushing into last for that long, that's going to happen. But we saw Etney get some big plays. We saw Eric win 1v1s and make sure Banny wasn't able to stop him on cart. We saw Jacob going and getting stabs onto Boar, onto Jarrett, onto Boar. So the plays are there. They just really need to kind of put them together and step it up, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for me is that I think K&D was just too passive on offense. They kept waiting for things to happen. Their combo was playing so far back, it didn't allow players to be making plays. And I think that might be just some scared of being going up against Boar, and what we need to happen from that. But we do have a person who also has another perspective, and they've been sitting right next to us this entire time. They joined us for the pregame. Welcome back, Exile. I know you've been taking notes. You've been watching this. What have you been noticing just in that first round in this best of 3 on Upward?
Man, it seemed like our predictions in the first round were going to be correct here. We saw a lot of the pit classes making those very excellent stabs and headshots onto the right people. But I did notice a very big trend on the side of Irene is that they definitely had the right kill spread on their flank classes. I noticed their flank class were able to make a lot of plays together and really did make those openings for their team. And their combo was able to make a lot of space off those plays. On their offense, they were able to just walk up over for a few points just with their picks alone and just take these points from K&D. And we noticed a lot of Uber advantages coming out of Sky as well, actually. She was able to hold her Ubers for a very long amounts of time and was able to use her Ubers at the right amount of time. But there were times where they were losing the Ubers. Like, both teams were losing the Ubers to Demento and Feint. I don't know if the snipers did get a lot of med picks in this round, but I did notice that the spies were doing a lot when it comes to the amount of picks they were getting. But overall, I think Irene did get the most value out of their picks, able to get definitely shutting down Bull, like Alto said. We expected this to happen. Bull was getting shut down the entire match, in this first round at least. Definitely needs to step out up when it comes to staying alive for his team, but Irene definitely playing their hearts out this match, showing that this is their map. They wanted this map to be played this in this best of 3. Definitely shows that like, their pick classes they are stepping up for sure this game. But I do want to point out that K&D, they were having really solid defenses with their flank classes. I'd say K&D has a very strong flank when it comes to holding a point, and definitely showing a lot of dominance when it comes to holding a point. I'd say Etney and Scratchy and Eric, especially on their offense though, they were able to make a lot of plays on their offense at least. Especially maybe walking up to the third point, because we did notice that Irene didn't really have a second point because they did end up getting the medic, and K&D was just able to walk in there. But it looks like the second round is starting, so let's see what goes on in the second round here.
I think we got debated as somebody unreadied up. But
okay.
one thing that I did actually notice, I'm kind of looking through these logs, and I think it's kind of interesting and kind of might speak to the reason that Feint is going pretty big. I mean, Demento's not too far behind. He's only 5 frags off of where Feint's at, though. Demento, I'm trying to see how many frags he got actually 5 kills on the enemy sniper. So he's actually Feint and Demento are right there. But one interesting note is that Billy Soros has only died 4 times compared to Oblivion's 10. So K&D's Pyro going down a little bit more, and that might speak to a little bit more of his aggressiveness, and maybe, you know, they need to pull back up Oblivion a little bit more to help out against the spy. But the thing about this is that ultimately these stats are kind of hard to gauge everything perfectly because they're going to be a little bit skewed because of the long defense in the favor of Irene. So be curious as we are started up here in this second round. K&D, so the way that it works is K&D first set the time in the first round. Now in the second round here, they're going to be defending the time. It's going to be Irene setting the time. But XL, before we let you go, do you think it's going to be Irene taking it 2-0, or do you think K&D is going to be able to put it to a third round?
I see K&D maybe stepping it up a little bit more. I bet they did talk about some before the round strat. I think Oblivion, you're right though, is dying a lot, but he did get a few plays. I think the value of his plays was worth less than what he was actually dying for. I say on this defense here, if he's able to stay alive more and play with his team and play around Nursey and keep her Ubers up and her alive, they'll do a lot better, I'm assuming. So you'll probably see him a lot more on the heals, definitely in this round.
Yeah, both Pyros actually having taken a lot of heals in that round. Billy actually getting second heals, just a little bit, 300 or so over Carson. Obliv really only, 60 below Kresnik. So both Pyros very major factors in their combo. And actually, I heard a Sandman bonk come out. Didn't see where that was or who that was onto. I think that was Banny running it. No, Banny's on the Sun on a stick, actually. So a bit of an interesting melee choice. Must have been Eric, maybe just trying to go for that harassment over there. Interesting weapon choice to come out, but Boar's going to get taken down by Space Ghost, so kind of starting this half off on the right foot, given the rough half he had last time. So going to have to see if Irene can find anything. Bull going to get trades with Jarrett, so that Demo Man on the long defense timer could maybe be something to go off of, and it looks like Sky will leave spawn. Actually, no, not yet.
Yeah, another big thing here is that the teleport is going down in the favor of Feint. Feint actually is spawn camping now. He's going to be spawn camping Bull as Banny is trying to get behind Irene. Here we go, Banny going into a 2v1, easily gets cleaned up there by Etney as well as it, but Feint, as I said, he was spawn camping, got Bull, no teleporter, and Bull's going to be down here as Feint is coming forward, and here comes out the recharge for the offense.
Yeah, Eric and Oblivion coming in on this. Oblivion doing a good job of air blasting, no really getting in. Feint's going to come in from behind though, takes out Scratchy. Space Ghost gets sniped at the same time, and Kresnik loses the heavy fight, so it means that K&D is going to have to scatter out of here. Narcy runs out through tunnel. Uber should be about even right now. Very slight ad in the favor of Sky, but with Space Ghost still down, it means Candy's not going to be able to get that crucial kind of hill control that they need to get those second holds in. Habib going in on a palm with the DH, actually. Going to land a rocket onto Bolo, looked like, but not going to get any kills. But K&D being forced back into this passive second hold means that them losing the point is very likely to happen, as they have no defenses even in tunnel to kind of harass the card pushers.
Yeah, Demento's going to try to get himself in position as Habib with a DH in double window, but here we go, Boar going down, that is. And so and Jarrett going down as well, so 2 big picks for Irene. And now Demento, he's going to try to gun down Sky, forcing her to run back as he's going to fall off the cliff, but this is going to give a chance for K&D to go up the hill, but Carson is in double window, and so they have to be careful that he doesn't go for a play, as well as Habib. They clear out the cart path as the respawns are coming up very quickly for the offense here. Kresnik with a cute little peek, but here's Carson. He's still up there. Will he get it? He will finally go down, but this is going to give a chance for KD.
He's going to take out Bull too, so Heavy and Demo both down for K&D right now. They managed to kind of stave off that push, but with those long spawns, Eddie gonna go down as well, means that a lot of the heavy damage classes for K&D are dead right now. Feint going in for a decloak, gonna get found out again, tried to get in on Space Ghost twice there from the same spot. Sky though with Uber, Nursey having as well, but really aggro play from Irene right now. Defense pop gonna come out first from Nursey as Oblivion goes in. They just want to stop the cart. Vanny's still on it, not dying. He popped the bog so the gun wouldn't be able to kill him while crouching behind the cart. He's gonna have to get forced off right now as the Uber finally comes out of Irene. Way better Uber for the offense, and it's gonna force K&D back. So 3 minutes through second though, pretty respectable time for K&D. But the third and the fourth points are really what make Upward holds. So
Bull, Jared getting taken down there. Nice sticky trap out of Bull, and so that's going to slow it down. He was trying to get forward, but Bull, that's going to be Boar taking down Bull. And so now the sniper, very aggressive. Carson also very aggressive for his team as the respawn's just coming up for K&D as they're going to flood out onto this third point. But with Boar staring out these sidelines, Space Ghost, he knows where he's at. Who's going to win the SVS? Actually, it's going to be Boar who eats a headshot, but the cart rolling forward. K&D trying to find some ground here. Jarrett very low, but still K&D is pretty far back inside.
Yeah, I didn't see what actually happened at the end of that, but Nursey must have gone down, and a lot of other K&D players did too. Banny has the cart up the first hill, about to hit it onto the second. Carson in bend takes out Kresnik and Etney before going down. Feint going to be the kind of trade kill back onto that, but Banny's just sitting pretty on cart. Bull launching those stickies over him. Hits him pretty low, actually. Forces him off. Does hit the jump and doesn't fall off, so a little bit of a reprieve for K&D. Bull tries to get aggressive, but Sky holding close on that bend with full Uber means that this will almost likely be an Irene cap sooner rather than later.
You would think unless another play comes out. They have nobody on cart right now. Finally, Carson's going to get there with the Fist of Steel, but here comes out the Uber charge. It's going to be equal for either side. Actually, going to be a little bit better for Red. We'll see what they can do. The cart's still not up that third ramp, but nobody's contesting the heavy, and here comes out the frags for Irene. But no, it's going to be Oblivion on the side, getting some damage down. Finally gets taken out. Only 5 players alive here for the defense. Carson rolling up that cart, and yeah, they're not going to have a chance here. You know, K&D just has to make sure they can back out safely, get the players back up, but it just seems like they didn't have enough players, K&D, in that Uber charge to be able to get the kills they needed or to focus down the cart to be able to stop Carson to do that. And now Banny with that soda popper, once again, he's going to go for a play on the medic.
Yeah, tries to get in, but looks like he's like, oh, but Feint getting up into upper, going to take out Kresnik. Oblivion going down as well. We have Irene flooding up behind K&D. Nursey will get off the Uber in time, moving into Bull. Sky's actually going to go down. Jacob stabbed her down in those back stairs. So really clutch plays coming out of those pick classes. Krausen, though, coming up into upper, going to take out Eric, and it's going to force the rest of K&D back into this boxes area. Space Ghost looking down the hallway, finds the shot onto Carson. Again, gives them a bit of a moment of kind of respite as Obliv's going to go in and sacrifice himself to take out Jarrett. It's Nursey and Bull right now in upper. Kresnik crosses over as well, so the hold kind of getting set back up, and that's what you want to see if you're K&D right now.
Yeah, this is exactly what they needed to stabilize, to be able to get some more time off of this clock. Even if they hold it for another 3 minutes, it would still be a fast time. So K&D needs every moment that they can. Here comes in Banny using that soda popper. Gets the 1v1. He's going to get another. No, it's Space Ghost. Actually, no, it's Kresnik who got the kill. Ultimately, Space Ghost, I thought he got him with the sign. But Oblivion's going down as well. And again, this is what we're talking about. Oblivion just taking more deaths. I think he was trying to go under to get to his team, but ultimately now he's just going to be on a 20-second respawn wave. But with K&D sitting in upper, got both explosive classes, about a 10% advantage, slowly dwindling, and it's going to make it even. They're going to have a chance to defend this, but without a pyro, it's going to be a little bit harder to stuff this, because this stuff with Banny keep coming through. You could deal with this with the pyro, and Feint's going to probably make a play very soon.
Demento gets Sky, though, but Feint's going to come in on the other side and take out Kresnik and Etney. So both spies popping off. Sky going to drop there. Habib, it looks like, going in, getting in onto Nursey, will force her Uber to kind of even that out, but look, I was waiting for a massive team fight there, but both spies just, felt like wiped half of them out. So, I guess in the end, though, Jarrett's going to try to get into upper, but Space Ghost still on boxes after all this time, takes him out. Boar finally shuts him down, coming up spiral, finds Bull as well. Nursey's going to drop out of upper, has to go into lower even, just to protect her own life. Shoots some crossbows over there, trying to do what she can as she runs back into spawn, but it's going to end up with Irene gaining control of upper. We're going to see if K&D can kind of manage the, I guess, the backhold here as their gun goes down. Not what you want to see. Irene flooding onto card. Respawn's coming up for Bull right now, though. Jarrett getting sniped out. Definitely going to be a huge help for K&D right now, not having that spam damage. Jacob or Demento in on card, going to try to find any picks. Banny escapes with his life as Eric's playing aggro in main, and Etney bombs into, tries to get Boar, and upper Jacob takes him out. Really good plays out of him, and it looks like K&D's going to barely hold on to it.
Yeah, they somehow were able to do it. I think that Jarrett pick set it off, and now here you go, Candy flooding into the underneath. They're going down here to get back into upper. That upper control is so important as Nursey, though, very, very low in HP and doesn't have a sandwich. And oh no, Jarrett going down, but here comes out the Uber charge. It's going to be onto Eric, but Nursey gets pushed out or jumped out. I'm not sure which. And she's going to go back to spawn, and that Uber was basically worthless as Sky now taking control. Here comes Banny onto the cart. The little Meesinch gun doing enough of a job. Banny getting it very close. Now Carson's getting onto the cart. Only 4 players left alive here as Etney doing a great job below, as well as with the Cinch gun doing a great work. We'll see what they can do. Scratchy doing everything they can, but Carson being out-healed using those arrows, and it's not going to be enough. Great job out of Sky and Carson to work it up there. 7 minutes and 57 seconds, and that is a solid time coming out of Irene again.
Yeah, no, you mentioned it before. 7 minutes was pretty fast. 8 minutes is average, and you know this is pretty average defense coming out of K&D. Would have liked to have seen maybe Carson go down a little bit earlier at the end there, but I don't think Etney had the rockets. You know, maybe if he had one more loaded, or I think he was on Black Box, so he only had 3. But yeah, just again, decent enough hold out of K&D, and it puts them in a good spot because if you're not able to push this time, then you really kind of weren't deserving of winning this map. You know what I mean? If you come up with a 12-minute time in the first half and you can't push 8 in the second, you're losing that map, and rightfully so. And it means that they'd have to go into this into Cascade, which is Irene's map pick, down a map, being forced to win on that just to push it to a third one. So definitely a lot on the line for K&D right here as they move into offense.
Can I give you an interesting stat line from that first half of that round?
Sure, hit me.
Give me a guess of who the top fragger was that round.
I'm guessing Feint or Demento.
Carson with 12
Really?
frags. The heavy for the offense top fragging. How unusual is that? And so, as we said, individual players needing to step up, and it's going to be the heavy that time round. As the gates are going to be coming down here, K&D now on offense, Irene on the red side. Demento getting spotted out there with the Bolivian who ate a headshot early on. And so the cart's rolling up here, but we haven't really seen either team going for real suicide waves besides Bull with his base jumper kind of play, but Demento getting spotted out here, and I'm kind of surprised he's not going for the play to go back behind. But here we go, and bombing coming in from Bull.
In on the gun. Jordan aware this time, gonna have it gun wrangled ahead of time, so it doesn't look like he's gonna lose. It gets very low, and he will end up wrangling Etney and Bull out of the air, it looked like. So really good engineering coming out of the longtime veteran on Irene as Board takes out Space Ghost to kind of deny any momentum K&D may have gotten off of that, although I wouldn't be surprised to see Bull go again. They are kind of a minute into this push already, but as you know, it looks like Nursey's going to come out, and they're just going to go for kind of an even push here. Feint's nowhere really near position to stab Nursey, so unless she gets sniped, then we should see a trade coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, and again, this is just one of those things where it's like, actually, yeah, here we go. Trade's going to be coming out, but it's going to be a little bit denied as Billy's Horse is going to come out here. But that's okay. It's okay that they don't get any frags in this situation because you want to re-engage after the Uber to pick up the frags that you can. Bull is eating a lot of damage from Habib, who jumped up. And it's going to be, they're still re-aggressing. They're getting the frags that they need. Jordan's down. The Cinch gun should get taken out. Jarrett and Habib also going down incredibly low, able to get the med pack, but KD looks to just be a war of attrition, and it looks like they're coming out the other side of it, the better.
Yeah, Boar, though, railing off these headshots, and we're actually going to see a banner popped out. I believe that's a conch coming out from the side of Irene. Maybe that's a Battalion's, not sure. It is a Battalion's, actually. Feint gonna stab Demento behind with some counter espionage happening, but it will be a push coming through for K&D. A little less than 2 minutes for this first, and with Boar being up on hill right now, this should be, or actually no, Boar had gone down in that. Must have missed that. He's respawning now, though. If he can get on hill, it'll mean this second hold will be a lot stronger for Irene, so K&D should really be pushing the tempo here. As Billy gets sniped out by Space Ghost, gets a good frag to start this off.
Yeah, both teams at 100%, but not having that Pyro means that this Uber charge could get a little bit deeper. Bull got backstepped a little bit earlier on. Here comes in Habib going on to Space Ghost, gets pushed off the cliff, will go down as it's going to be Demento. He gets spotted out there, gets killed again. And so not too much with that. We'll see how this trade is going to come out here. Eric's going to open up. He's going to try to get some damage. Gets the force off onto Jarrett. Nursey holding onto his 100%. But here comes in Feint behind the medic. Will get, doesn't get the stab. And so now Nursey with this 100% is going to just back off and try not to lose too many players. Re-aggress once they have full numbers.
Banny in deep, though. Going really deep, actually. Will, though, will not find anything as Nursey meets up with Oblivion. Riley escapes. So surprised you didn't use there, but players worked. They, Bull got sniped right at the end of that, so not much to go in off of. Habib tried to go in for a big bomb, and he's going to go in again. Finds one rocket onto Nursey. Will get the very early force off. Huge play coming out of Habib there, but Jacob takes out Sky on the other end. just as that's happening, so the Ubers are going to be neutralized, as we've seen consistently. And with no heals on Hill, it's going to force Irene back. K&D getting control right now. Boar, though, finds another shot onto Bull in very close range this time, too, as it looks like K&D is just sending everyone back into tunnel. Not entirely sure why. Feint comes in with a declick on Nursey, almost finds her, but gets taken down by Kresnik. But yeah, with that med going down, I thought K&D were going to take this, but Bull getting sniped again. Feels like it's the third or fourth time already in just the 3 or so minutes in this round, and time is quickly ticking down for K&D as they're struggling to even cap second.
Well, the one thing, when it comes to Highlander, if your combo is going to be losing, you need to win the flank fight, and that's exactly what happened there. That's why that push failed, is that the push succeeded against the combo, but because they put everybody upper, Carson was underneath, and he was able to win the 1v1 against the heavy, and then a 1v1 against the soldier, and so it worked out well for them. Here comes in Feint on the cart, gets a backstab onto the scout. 4 minutes left on the clock here. It is very doable, but it's really going to depend on how well they can handle this third point. They're going to be even uber charge going into this. Boar is currently down, as well as Feint Nova. The pick class is up for the offense here. They should be respawning soon, but yeah, I mean, really, they need to basically get this third push in the first go or second, or they're not going to have a chance.
Yeah, Jacob getting it caught out here, definitely what you want to see out of Irene right now. Every time they take him down, that's just another, 20 seconds that, Sky's going to be safe, given, the lack of sightlines kind of into third, as long as she plays near that dispenser, kind of behind the wall. Card time coming out of K&D is good. They're definitely going to need that. Carson going down, though, getting spammed up by Bull. Very, very big kill. Opens up Bucket, and it looks like they're going to use that as the kind of in-pick. Kresnik getting hit really low ahead of time. Bull getting hit. Gravity cannon off the map, absolutely sent flying. Uber's going to come in onto Eric and Oblivion, but Candy's losing this hard. Jarrett gets stabbed on the back and Banny goes down, so frags are in Candy's favor, but they do not have the pressure by any means. Feint waiting behind, going to try to go in for a stab, but he's really far out. Actually may come in on Bolt. No, gets caught out by Space Ghost. Jacob finds Sky again, too, dropping her Ubers there as she never had to use. So with players down and respawning, K&D's going to surge in here. Scratchy already on card, should be met up by Eric soon. I'd imagine this has to be a third cap for K&D, especially if they want to take this half back.
Yeah, I'm a little bit just yelling at the screen here. Capture the cart. Scratchy keeps getting off of it. No one's by him, and he keeps going for Sentry Gun. Picks up, but huge play coming in from Habib. Bombs in, takes down Nursey. And so, as big of a pick that's going to be, it's not going to be that big because Nursey will be back up close to even over here with those fast respawns from the Austin. Kresnik with the Fist of Steel gets denied. And now Space Ghost in that side house in C looking for a miracle play, but see, this is like if Scratchy was on the cart all the time, they might have had this, but because he kept going off the cart, not being contested, he might have lost his team this third point because of how much time he gave up trying to put up mini sentries rather than focusing the objective.
And what Irene's doing right now is one of my all-time favorite things. So many teams will say, oh, we only have 2 minutes, we can back out of third. That is the #1 way to get upset and lose rounds you should have won. This kind of, take it from our cold dead hands defense out of Irene is exactly what they need. Because if you back it out to last, who knows, with that space you give them, you give K&D just the amount of time and momentum they need to walk forward. Instead, they risk it going for this kind of, again, really difficult hold, and Jacob goes in, does reset the card timer, but goes down, and K&D is on full-on feed mode as they keep going in on the card, but Carson's still on it, not giving it up. Etney gonna jump in on it now, gets Carson low, will take him out, so that Heavy finally goes down. Eric gonna move forward, but again, they're just so forward, and Space Ghost not hitting any shots. Banny comes in, even forces Nursey's Uber, and the gun is more forward than they were expecting, so they're not gonna get anything out of this. Jarrett gets sniped out, Space Ghost finally getting a pick, but Boar, super aggro on the coaster, gonna help take out Nursey with the beep before he goes down, and while this may be a cap coming in from K&D, not even he's gonna get taken out. Oh my lord, this is one hell of a defense, and this gun by Jordan is doing so much work. Takes out Oblivion. Scratchy will finally cap it, but look at that. If they had backed out when we thought they were going to, K&D would have had a full 2 minutes to cap this, but now they have 45 seconds, and if they get ×3 off the card a single time, this game ends, and Feint stabbing Bull is going to make that go even better.
Yeah, they pretty much have to pedal to the metal. This is a possible format, but here we go. Demento, he's going to sap the gun, so that's going to open it up here. Very aggressive play coming out of Jordan, but I'm not sure if it's going to matter. Eric onto the cart. He really can't get off of it as Sky's only at 60%. They're getting to this upper area, but they have no one else making a play. Edney's trying to pinch them, but it's really not doing much. Oblivion coming in. Great job onto Jarrett, taking him out. Edney on the backside, getting a decent amount of damage. 12 seconds left in the clock, and with that kill onto the cart, that's going to be it. As the time ticks down, they might get some more frags, but that's going to be Irene taking this map that was Candy's pick 2-0.
Yeah, just really, really good play out of them, and that third hold at the end there is very clearly what gave it to them, because if K&D had another minute here, they don't have to rush that. They can let their players get, get set up, and we've seen those kind of pushes happen so many times. I mean, maybe not on cast, but just if you've ever played Highlander, you know that exact feeling, be it on Steel or Swiftwater or Upward. You say, oh, we've only got a minute and a half. Let's just give up, third, not risk getting snowballed into last, and then that's exactly what happens. You get snowballed into last because you give them that space. Irene fighting for every inch of ground on the map, just able to, stall them for so long when the cart was so close. Carson and Jordan and Billy doing such a great job of that, and Irene take the map, and deservedly so.
Yeah, and this is the first map of a 3-map series. So this is we're going to be going into Cascade, and that's going to be match point, or map point, if you will, in the favor of Irene. But jumping into these logs here, just pretty much what we saw last time, Boar top fragging, though this time it's going to be Carson sitting right behind him. But at least we're going to see Space Ghost, he bottom fragged last game, and now we're seeing Space Ghost step up with 17 frags. So very reasonable, as it's pretty much the top 5 classes. 4 of the top 5 classes are pick classes, which is, I always think is kind of interesting, when it comes to Highlander, when you see Highlander is considered to be one of the strongest classes, but a lot of people consider Spy to be the weakest class, and it's always so interesting to see him do so well inside of Highlander, especially when you have these just great spies doing work. But I mean, is there any kind of stat lines that are jumping out to you at your first glance on this?
I guess if I'm continuing the own narratives I've been pushing, if you look at the demos again, that round was a lot closer, and while I don't have the overall frag totals, I'd imagine they're fairly close to each other. But we look again, Jarrett going 13 and 9, Bull sitting on 11 and 20. And just this time, Bull only 300 DPM, Jarrett 511. So the difference in demos this time a lot more pronounced. And we're seeing it again. We saw it. I think I mentioned it when Candy was pushing. Boar managed to take out Bull. Felt like 3, 4, 5 times in a row almost, just consistently shutting him down and making sure he's not able to find any openings in the slightest. And that's, I think that really stalled out that second push where, actually, let me check. I do have the logs up now. Yeah, 7 kills onto Bull from Boar, which was, a significant portion of his deaths, and all of them seem to have happened at very important times. Bull tying for top deaths in the half, actually, with Jacob. So when your demo's dying as much as your Spy, that's not what you want to see.
Yeah, definitely not. So I'm very curious to see if we're going to be able to see K&D step it up, but I'm worried here coming into Cascade. I mean, cost maps tend to favor the teams which are a little bit more aggressive, and with K&D not able to get Bull's numbers up to that of Jarrett's, what they can do, especially with Carson stepping up big there. But we do also have a person here on the side enjoying us behind the scenes, doing what he can. XL, my main man, how you doing out here? And what did you see in that second round? What did you see? Why did K&D lose that second round?
Man, one of the biggest factors, in my opinion, were just like the overall individual efforts that Irene had. They had individual players just doing their job pretty well over the people on K&D. We had the combo classes coming out of Irene just doing their jobs perfectly. Billy just denying a lot of the Ubers coming out of K&D and denying a lot of their overall aggression, just being aware of where they're gonna come from. We have people like Jarrett, if you saw the stat line earlier, just doing his job perfectly, not dying over Bull, who died 20 times while he died only 9. You have doing the damage for his team, and we see Carson here just doing absolutely amazing on Upward Heavy. Definitely one of those classes you want to be aware of, is that Heavy on Upward, or on any payload as a matter of fact, can do a lot when it comes to on a defense and an offense together. It just really depends on how you play him, right? You could play him near your combo and just make sure your medic doesn't die, or you can play him in more aggressive positions, being ready to just collapse on the other combo here. But it looks like Irene just came over up top on K&D. They were just overall just so in sync, and their flank classes were just doing a lot of work. Habib getting some sick bombs onto Nursu. We saw that one earlier. I think sigafoo saw it, but a huge bomb coming out of him on the defense onto Nursu while they're pushing that third coaster. That, in theory, that could have been actually one of the deciding factors in them not dropping that round, actually. Depending if Nursi did end up getting that Uber into the last push, they could have actually made a play happen, or maybe a push into that last point, maybe securing them, maybe the round, actually. But just overall plays that came out of Irene and Faint doing as well as he did with, I think he was third frag over his team. Just absolute amazing work coming out of the Spy. But I think both teams, the pick classes were doing well, especially on K&D. I say the classes coming out from this round over the last, it was a real big switch up, right? Space Ghost doing a lot better than he did in the first round. We had people like Demento getting huge stabs, but it just wasn't enough for the team because it just seems like Irene's combo were just playing that so much better. Just knew what they had to do and accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think one other set line I want to just point out here is that in the SVS, the sniper v sniper, Boar killed Space Ghost 8 times, whereas Space Ghost only killed Boar 3 times. And it kind of reminds me of a conversation I had with a really good EU sniper who learned, I believe, I'm trying to remember which sniper, I think it was Max, or it's one of the other kind of legendary snipers from back in the TF2 history days. And the sniper that he kind of idolized was one that would not try to go for SVSs, but he was like, I'm not going to try to sniper v sniper because that's how I die. But if I just go for frags instead, rather than trying to go to kill the enemy sniper, I'm going to get a lot more done. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe Space Ghost needs to adjust his playstyle going into this map to, instead of trying to go for kills on board, try to let his team deal with that, try to let the bombs, try to let the spy deal with that. Because if you're going 8-3, and half of your deaths are to the enemy sniper, maybe you just need to give that up and try to focus on the other players. It's like if Space Ghost was alive a little bit more, maybe Carson would have been shut down that much harder rather than, top fragging, because Carson, obviously heavy, very susceptible to headshots when they're charged up if you can get comfortable with that. But, it's one of these things where it's like you can kind of see how the classes that they counter can step up, kind of off these different variables.
Yeah, no, that definitely was Max. I vividly remember that as back in the dark days when I failed at playing sniper. That was a thing that, I learned from him, and I use that more of an excuse to explain why I was terrible at counter sniping. But it definitely is true where, I believe the exact quote was the sniper's job isn't to kill the other sniper, it's to kill everyone else. And then, you allow your flank classes, you allow even your demo to get spam on him, you let you create openings for your spy. Because if you think about it, yeah, if their sniper's doing a lot, but if you kill the pyro, if you kill the demo, if you kill the heavy, who's going to spy check for him? Who's going to stop your scout from running in and just getting him? Who's going to stop a bomb onto him? And, sniper's a lot better at killing other classes because they can't fight back against him. Whereas if you only focus on SVS, yeah, maybe you got that sniper kill, but if their sniper kills your demo and your med in that time, then, you're going to generally come out on the losing end of that trade. Now, I think something bringing up as we move into Cascade is that Cascade is a newer map, definitely one of the more irregular ones, in the fact that sightlines can definitely be played around on here, and sniper can have a big impact. But when you think of a great sniper map, this isn't one of them. Additionally, that lower area beneath the point does have a major impact in fights, and it's something we saw Irene really take advantage of when they last played K&D on it. Carson going under there on a ton of mids, popping up and running right into the K&D combo, surprising them. We saw Banny and Habib have really, really good games on this map as well, due to how well they're, just how good they are kind of flanking and going behind, and the ability that Cascade gives you, especially when your team has the point. So I am definitely worried, really, for Candy coming into this, having seen Bull get shut down so hard. But if Space Ghost and Jacob can kind of pull the same games they had last round, as well as, Bull maybe stepping up, playing a little more passively, dodging sightlines, I think K&D does have a shot at doing this, since I feel like one of the more common things we see in TF2 is in a BO3, teams trade each other's maps.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. I also feel like I just have a feeling that this is going to be Demento's map. It just in my gut, I just feel like Demento's going to be able to step up here. I think he was just looking a little bit like his playstyle just didn't look like what I normally see him play. He looked a little bit not necessarily out of sorts because he had a decent game. He had he was pretty much on par with Feint, though it felt like Feint's pick. Well, actually, Demento was making some good picks there at the end. His team just wasn't able to stabilize off of that. But I'm kind of curious. I just feel like because the thing that we saw is Mad Ringme against Irene had a very good game against Irene on Lakeside. So I'm kind of curious on another Koth map, is a spy going to be able to go big? Because with spies on Koth, it's a lot easier to be in position. You're kind of always near the enemy team, especially when you use the cloak and dagger, which doesn't expire when you're standing still. And so I'm just kind of curious to see what they're going to be able to do with that. And I guess, Exile, I got a question for you. We saw Habib in particular a little bit out of Etny, but using the battalion's backup, which basically it gives you a little bit more health. It stops critical shots so you can't get headshot. And then it also gives your team a little bit of a buff so you can kind of get in and out of situations. Do you think we're going to see another sort of banner being run out of either soldier, or do you think they're going to play more gunboats, kind of roamer style play?
I noticed that Habib does like to use those utility backpack on payload maps, but I think on this map specifically, I think we'll see him running a lot more gunboats. I see him doing a lot more bombing on this map, I see him doing a lot more aggressive plays, but on Upward and Payload stuff, you're going to see him doing a lot more passive stuff, kind of building it. But you know, on a map like this, where the soldiers do tend to play a bit more passive, like playing balcony or playing kind of just to spam, you might see him run maybe like a Contra or something like that. And I do believe, I think I've seen them run Buff Banner maybe once or twice, scrimming against him in this prior season. Maybe they might run a backpack once or twice, but I do see, there's probably a big chance of him running gunboats.
Yeah, I would lean towards gunboats as well. I think Habib's kind of natural soldier style is that kind of very bomb heavy, going in over and over again, especially on a map like this where it's so small, you know, it really just takes 1 or 2 rockets to get over the point and then either into the enemy combo or behind them on their bats. So I think the gunboats are going to be big for both soldiers, although I wouldn't be overly surprised to see Etni maybe run a black box conch if he wants to be a little more passive, sit up in those tunnels that can control a lot of ground. But we get into the first mid here, and it looks like Jacob's going to get really aggro with the Dead Ringer. I'd imagine Irene putting a lot of focus on going under. Jacob finally gets that Dead Ringer popped almost behind them as Sky gets taken down, or that's Sky gets taken down. Kresnik coming up from lower, copying Carson in their last match, gets the med pick early, and Nursey is going to be getting out. So Ubered into the favor of K&D.
Yeah, and we'll see if they can get the frags in their favor as well. Jordan very aggressive with his team. He's ultimately going to go down. Nursey able to get a med pack to get back up. So 90% advantage. Banny onto the medic. Gets Nursey down to half HP. Isn't able to pistol her down. And so this is going to be the first mid fight. It's going to go in the favor of K&D. And it was kind of interesting. You saw players for Irene going underneath. And K&D just kind of deathballed almost 7 players just straight down the left-hand side. Working against that sniper sightline, and it seemed to work out well for them as Kresnik very aggressive in his position. They're going to back up, and kind of curious to see how they're going to hold this. It seems to look like they're going to go for more of an aggressive hold style as Kresnik is going to get taken out there.
Yeah, Habib going in for a bomb. Going to kind of jump again, but oh, Fate gets the stab onto Nursey from behind. That's going to be an Uber drop. Etni going down as well as Arik, so frags are heavy in Irene's favor. Oblivion's going to go in. Jared goes down to Demento, and Space Ghost finds the stab onto Carson, but really it looks like those two are going to be it. Oblivion gives his life to stall the point a little bit longer as Feint finds his way onto Space Ghost, gets SMG'd away, waits for the pack, and Space Ghost surviving his life for now. As Banny actually getting aggro, almost takes him out. Nursey gets 3 spawns and kills him enough, but point in the favor of Irene right now. Habib jumping forward, gonna get up in on bats, gonna try to find Nursey, but she's decently far away. She doesn't know though. Rockets, 1 rocket, 2 rockets. She gets blown on the other side of the staircase and luckily gets out of that, but if she was in a different part of the map right there, she might have died.
Yeah, it got a little bit lucky there. Now 100%, about a 50% advantage in the favor of Sky as Demento just using a long-range pistol that kind of pestered the enemy team. But here we go, Bull walking in onto Carson. And they're just trying to get the force off, I assume, or just trying to take ground away as they're still 20% away from getting that Uber charge. Just the biggest thing is not to lose too many players during this poke process. Carson going down incredibly low. Banny gets taken out there, and now they might force off this Uber charge. They do have the 100% ready to go, and they're going to make Irene have to pop in there. The bomb comes in, the trade's going to come out, and looking like it's just going to be the point in the favor of K&D if they can take down Carson.
Yeah, Carson coming up on the side, but good stickies out of Bull. Gonna take down Jared. Feint gets the stab onto Bull, and Space goes on behind, though, and the push crumbles as that happens. Nursey forced to back out alone, meaning she's not healing. Ubered will be in the favor of Sky, and just really big from Feint. You know, we mentioned that Mad had such a good game against Irene last time, and he had a pretty, I'd say, underwhelming game overall. Feint coming in again on Nursey, finds her! And it might be flashbacks for K&D the last time they played this map against Irene. Nursey kept dying, and just, even though they had such a great mid-fight, it looks like they're getting shut out of the point really heavy here.
Yeah, Habib's going to go down, 17-second respawn. And for anybody who's not familiar with Koth, if your team controls the point, your respawns are twice as long as the other team. So right now the Blues respawns are about twice as long as the Reds respawns. And here we go, Demento's getting ready. His bombs are coming in. Demento's going to go for a stab, but he's already spotted out by Billy Source. But Kresnik is going to get the opening frag here onto Carson. And with Sky at half HP, coming up to 100%, they are going to pop it. Oblivion doing what he can to blast him back, but gets obliviated. And Bull's all the way back. Habib's pushing him. Banny going in, trying to get onto either player, but he's going to go down. And so now K&D sitting at a sizable advantage, but still a few moments away from being able to use it. But Space Ghost...
Sky Space Ghost gonna find the shot onto Sky right as Jacob gets his own revenge on Feint for upward, stabbing the other spy out. And that's 5 down on Irene out of nowhere. I was gonna say K&D, oh, but Carson's close, lower. He's gonna find Kresnik just to maybe slow this down a little bit, but this point should still be going in K&D's favor. As you mentioned, longer spawns for Irene as they are the defense team. Oblivion in super deep, gonna escape with his life there, gonna run out the rest of Irene's buildings, and good cap for K&D, but time is heavily in Irene's favor, and they're gonna need to put up a solid hold here if they want to, you know, run that clock down and maybe get an overtime off.
Yeah, Banny came in from the right-hand side, got Nursey down to 10 HP, but wasn't able to find the final shot onto her. Great job by K&D being able to defend against that. So now Nursey has to be careful, 100%. As Demento goes down, trying to get a pick onto Bull, so Jarrett's walking up forward here. Edney in the top right-hand corner is Banny coming underneath, gets a 2-shot onto the engineer there. And now with Space Ghost going down as well in that SVS, looks like K&D, they're going to go for an underneath push.
I love this. This is one of my favorite plays on Cascade, but Billy sees it. He's going to get an air blast off. Eric not able to find the shots onto him, and no frags will go over. The cap's going to go through, and K&D is now kind of trapped in lower. They are getting frags. Jordan Carson going down. It looks like they will successfully escape from the lower area. Bull getting on point, going to try to start recapping it more, though, finding another headshot onto Space Ghost, continually winning that SBS after the early mid. Uber comes out of Irene right now. Oblivion going to do his best to stall it, but he eventually goes down. He can't do damage back. And with only 5 seconds or so remaining on the clock, K&D's going to need to push into this with a numbers disad, get the cap if they want to continue it.
Yeah, they're going to do what they can. The capture is so close. Bull goes down. They do come down with it. But with no dumb man, this is going to be hard to defend against. Here we go. Irene's going to be pushing back onto this, but only 40% overcharge. Kresnik still forward for his team, but Carson just edging that point. Oh no.
Finds
Nursey
the
goes
headshot
down.
onto Nursey. Going to take out Oblivion as well. Feint takes out Kresnik. And even though Jacob comes in and finds Sky at the end, it will not matter. And we're going to see Irene taking the first round here, but ultimately a decently close round. I think that gives me some hope for the coming rounds here, that if K&D can maybe shut down Bor a little bit harder, find some kills onto him, that they can maybe make this a close game.
Yeah, one can hope. And so now we come on to the second mid-fight in this best-of-5 series. Demento's getting himself in position onto Carson. Will not get the backstab, but good point presence coming out from K&D, who are being spammed out from that right-hand side of Habib. Scratchy getting across the point as well. He might actually be able to get the better onto Banny. But right now with Board down, you can see K&D is very aggressive because of that. They don't have to worry about getting their head taken off. But with this re-aggression coming from Irene, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on to this point for too long.
Yeah,
Oblivion, though, he gets it.
Yeah, just barely. Space Ghost winning that SVS on mid again, like we saw last time. But yeah, again, they lose enough players capping it that they're all just going to get forced back. Nursey actually forced to use early. Gonna try to block the point herself. And yeah, Billy's running away from that as Sky only uses now. I think she had been building a little bit slower. Habib in for the big bomb onto Nursey. Gonna take out Vol, but ultimately goes down. The Uber, though, still going on, continues on. Feint actually ends up stealing the kill with that L'Étranger shot. And it will be fairly big ad into the favor of Irene, as though K&D won the mid-fight. They now have the point, the ad, and the setup with Bor super forward. Gonna win the SBS against Space Ghost now that it's not the mid-fight, seemingly his only weakness.
And so now you can see Irene just has this blockade set up on this front, the wrangled mini sentry gun. They have about a 30% advantage. Everything's ready to go. Banny is like AFK in the upper... No, I'm kind of curious what he's doing up there, if he's just waiting for a push, but I guess good patience. Space Ghost gets found out as Habib jumps into him. Feint's going to get caught as Habib's going to get out. More than likely, Habib down to literally 1 HP is able to get out, and there it goes as Bor is going to ring out a headshot onto Eric, and just so many frags going in the favor of Irene. And now Sky coming up to 100%. Yeah, Demento's going to get caught out here, and yeah, just not what K&D wanted in that situation.
Yeah, just again, really rough for them. Banny coming up really big on these fights, it feels like, too, with Habib coming in on those bombs. The flank is doing a lot of work. Habib going in with another one, although he's not going to find too much here. Banny close, goes down directly to the melee range rocket coming out of Etney. So flank down, and K&D has a numbers advantage for what feels like the first time in a while. They will be kind of moving in from that concrete side. Space Ghost landing some headshots, but not finding kills. Carson really close as Jarrett gets sniped out. Bor goes down. This Uber fight is going to be going in K&D's favors. They had the later pop and the numbers advantage. They got to kill Carson, though, with how forward he is, and he will go down. There should be a cap coming in. Bull able to take out that mini before Jordan wrangles him down. And K&D are going to kind of get the point back, since that bit of a failure to launch mid-fight. And
Yeah,
again,
was-
it's going to be a tough order here.
You know, here comes Banny onto Space Ghost, gets the frag, and just not a great day for Space Ghost. Banny should go down here. How is he still alive? They're all hunting him. Banny gets out of that situation. It was a 3v1 fight.
That's a tilter.
Oh my goodness, that is not what you wanted in that. Now Nursey going down to half HP with Habib spamming down rockets is going to take down Kresnik, and they're just being annihilated in that corner. Boar drops down trying to find a headshot, gets it, a body shot onto Nursey, Etney getting taken down as well. So many frags going in the favor of Irene. They haven't lost a single player in the process. Finally, Habib will get taken out, but for what? Only losing 2 players, and they take down pretty much everybody, and they're going to continue to hold on to this point. 57 seconds left.
Yeah, and just this game's going, you know, exactly how it feels like the last match against them went. Irene's just playing so aggressively, they're constantly finding frags. Banny is running wild across the map, and Habib's following right behind him. Feint gonna get caught out there. Banny in very deep, a little too deep maybe, will get taken out here, but K&D now again with that kind of 2-player, they're gonna have to go in here, but full ad on Sky means they're unlikely to come down with this cap unless she drops.
And who's dead again? Well, that's Space Ghost and Demento, so no pick classes here. As Ubercharge is going to come down, Nursey has to be careful. She's up at 60%. They want to have a chance to be able to push back onto this. They need to wait for the respawns to come in here. And actually, they're not going to wait. Oblivion's just going to walk forward, and he's probably going to get taken out for that. Goes down pretty low as Bull's doing a good amount of damage to the enemy team, but with Boar staring down that middle sideline uncontested, I'm not sure what they can do. Now, Banny, 1v1 against Nursey. Nursey at 88% gets taken down there, and now with just a 1 second left, it's going to go into overtime. Demento is not going to be able to do it enough. Scratch is going to run to the point, but for what? As it goes 2-0 in the favor of Irene, and we are on match point.
Yeah, you know, it would be a little bit disappointing to kind of see the grand finals go down after such a close regular season between these 2 teams without Candy taking a round, but you're kind of seeing firsthand just how powerful Irene is once they really kick into gear. And I don't know, I'm kind of feeling like I'd like to see a little something different out of K&D. Maybe see Nursey run crits, maybe, I don't know, maybe some more aggressive bombs coming out of Etney, because they've got to mix something up because it's just not working. Kresnik going to come down, the Eagle Heavy from HL Pugs coming out. Going to be enough of a distraction for Jacob to take down Sky, but the rest of K&D is falling very quickly as they're already 5 down. Nursey gonna get taken out by Feint. Almost accidentally dodged it with the surf, but they take out Sky, Habib, and Banny, but they're gonna eat a 9-man wipe in return. So something different we did see, but just not what they needed.
Yeah, that is not what you needed at all. Right now, K&D has to do a full series to get back. They have to win every single round to get back in here, as Boar is going to get 1 body shot from Demento, but Billy Soros is on top of it, killing Demento once again. And so now, we'll see how they want to enter this. This is where Candy has really struggled. Habib's been just so aggressive bombing into the enemy team, trying to go for frags on key players, but it's going to be Bull walking in. Jarrett going down incredibly low. He's going to have to get forced backed up. Oblivion running all the way across point, does get the frag onto Boar, and so that's going to open it up for Candy as they don't have to worry about this, but they have to be careful. No, I'm sorry. Habib's down, Feint, going in for the stab. No. Nursey just in time turns around, and that is a solid
Oblivion on a
push.
giga flank, gonna come in, and actually, no, he goes down. Jordan and Jared able to take him out, but Sky did go down to that. I believe that was Jacob taking out with a revolver, so really good work out of them to kind of re-push here. You said that has where they were struggling, but maybe they're finally finding their aggression and just, you know, kind of bullying Irene off the point, ultimately, but they still, again, have a very long climb to get back into this game. But with full ad on the side of Nursey, if she can stay alive and not get forced, then maybe they can take this. But Boar sniping out Space Ghost, gonna be a bad sign. Nursey being forced to use a jump out of Bull. He's gonna take out Sky in 2 pipes, gets Boar before he goes down as well. But Feint finds Nursey on the back end of that, and what a quick and bloody fight that was. Ultimately, though, K&D gonna maintain the point for now. Carson coming up from lower, though, doing a ton of work. There's that move I talked about in the pregame that he's been a fan of, and it's going to end up with Irene taking the point, not K&D.
Yeah, and that's not going to be too good. As much as, I mean, they were in perfect position to be able to potentially turn this around. They took down Sky. If they just could kept Nursey alive, but Feint just once again stepping up huge for his team, and so now Irene getting themselves into good position here. Demento he's going for long-range kills on Boar, and I haven't seen it work out yet as he keeps funneling onto him, but Bull doing a lot of damage. Banny gonna drop it, and here comes in the big bomb and gets denied, but Nursey is gonna go down to 18 HP, but they might be able to do just enough. Carson's still forward for his team. If they can take him out, they should be able to take out this point. And I can't speak, but KD seems like they can push, as they probably should come down with this point. Only 3 players left alive.
Yeah, Space Ghost had found a shot onto Sky there, while Bull's actually going to go down to Jarrett, spamming from, behind that wooden fence on the concrete side. They will come down with the point. Long spawn for him, though. Jacob uncloaking, getting in on Carson, will get called out, unfortunately, as Carson able to turn around just in time. Jordan getting sniped out, Carson going down as well. Candy playing really close, and Nursey starts back up into tunnel off of that bomb. She is going to get forced, though, but the Uber gets cut off. She'll have to drop back down to catch Kresnik on the back end of that, and he is alone in enemy territory, meaning he's going to go down very quickly. Fane's going to get taken out back behind, but Irene has momentum back, and they're running onto point and using it.
Yeah, and with Billy Source leading the charge, this is very hard for him. He's just going to W in one, make that a little bit more, make that two. Will he be able to get Nursey going down incredibly low, chasing, gets the flare off. Nursey probably will burn out here, yes, just in time. What an insane play coming out from Billy Source there. 3 kills in quick succession. They take back the point, and soon they will take back the lead in terms of time.
Yeah, just again, really crazy play. I'm not a fan of Candy holding that aggro. They tried it in the first round and it didn't work, and it's not working again. Space Ghost kind of snipe out Fane, getting revenge for that upward half, but Boar very aggro right now, misses some shots as Eric forces him back. He does get sniped out by Space Ghost, so some more revenge, but Uber's gonna get popped out by Sky. She got launched back actually by a Sticky, so good on whoever did that. I think that was Bull, to kind of cut that Uber a little bit short, and with frags in Candy's favor, they're gonna be storming back into point, and it looks like they finally found their mojo here. Bull sitting on point, getting brought low, and will go down thanks to that mini being a constant thorn in K&D's side. But yeah, it feels like they overcommitted a bit, didn't get the frags, ran onto point one at a time, and Irene's gonna end up winning this fight as Kresnik's kind of forced into lower. Oh, Jarrett gets him with a sticky.
They did take down Carson and they did take down Sky, so those are 2 important picks to push onto this point. The point's also very close, but here comes in Habib, gets a great rocket onto Nursey, but she surfs it away back to a med pack. Now Banny as well as Fane are in the back lines, but no, actually they're going to run into some enemy players and they get taken out. Now with only 6 players alive here for the defense, we'll see what Bull can do as he's leading the charge forward. They're getting a lot of capture time here. They should come down with this into the final seconds. Jarrett's disconnected, will go down. Carson disconnected as well, but he wins the 1v1 against the heavy, and he's still not dead. And looks like he's going to go run down into lower as Eric's going to run into him, take him down. But now we'll see what K&D can do. They have the Uber advantage. They have control of the point. The biggest thing, though, is they don't have their heavy forward. So how are they going to defend this?
Yeah, they've got a minute left here, and Nursey does have ads, so it's possible. We see a bunch of Irene already lower, but they're going to get sniffed out. Eric kills Banny, and Jordan's going to get sniped out as well. So flank being torn apart right now for Irene. Very aggro play out of Jarrett right now, as Bull is disconnected from Nursey. But again, Sky gets taken out. Bull lands those pipes. And there's that kind of like wild card factor Bull can bring when he's on his game. Maybe he's finally getting in there. Jacob's gonna take out Billy, and the Uber's gonna get popped out of Nursey right now. With Sky already dead, there's no heal, so it's gonna cause Irene to scatter, and I think K&D did that just to maybe kind of reset the point, get some of that pressure off of them, as Ubers are not going to be an issue. Fate coming in on Bull, beats the stab, not able to get him, and Bull in the meanwhile takes out Feint and Boar with some fantastically placed pipes. Vanny will eventually take him out as the cap time is really ticking up for them. Eric on point, gonna get forced back by that wrangled mini, has to shoot it, Etney not hitting the rockets on the mini, and as we go into overtime, we're gonna see Irene eventually cap the point back. K&D though have their shorter spawns, they're running back in on it, cap time building up, frags being traded back and forth on both sides, but it looks like K&D is coming out on top of it. Feint in, not able to take Kresnik out in time, and K&D will snag a round at the very end.
And there you go, back from the brink. They need to win 2 more straight here to take it to a 3rd map of CP Steel. All it takes is 1 round here for Irene to win the grand finals. And Jarrett's going to be out on this 4th mid fight early out here. No real damage being exchanged to either side as they're kind of just jostling for position. Feint and Demento getting into position, seeing where they want to go. Kresnik and Carson in the 1v1 underneath, and it's going to be Kresnik winning it. And so that's going to make Irene play a little bit more safer, as they are going to lose 1 more forward. Going down, Etney coming in, big bomb, and Sky going down. And this is great out of K&D if they want to make a comeback.
Yeah, Etney's still alive on that back too, putting a lot of pressure. Will eventually take out Jarrett. Took a couple of rockets, but a very good mid fight coming out of K&D. We've seen that be kind of a constant where they've just been really good on the mid fights. And if last round is anything to go off of, they've been better at everything else. Feint though gonna come in and get that kind of last word frag onto Kresnik as the point goes down. So longer spawns on him means that there's more players on the field right now for Irene. Uber on the side of Nursey should help K&D hold this. I'd expect it used soon. And yeah, they are going to use in. Eric and Bull getting forward across the point. Jacob the only one down right now. Habib going to be next. Oblivion gets dropped in the Uber, so frags again still in the favor of Irene, and they're gonna recap this. Nursey escaping with her life, but not if Fanny's anything to say about it. She hits him with an arrow, stalls his movement, and that might be enough as he turns around to run out with his life. So good repush coming out of Irene, but feels like we're finally on even playing ground after, you know, it's been an hour and a half almost already.
Well, it's a little bit uneven right now for Irene, as they do have a sizable Uber advantage. Coming up to 100% Boar, eating some rockets from Etni, but not able to secure that frag. Feint will get taken down there, so you know they're at least safe from that. But here we go, walking in. Demento, nice stab in onto Banny, but with them going down, it's going to be Boar being taken out there. Or sorry, it's Bold being taken out, and Irene just holding on to this point aggressively.
Nursey at super low health, already got a sandwich from Kresnik and still only at 50. She is regenning as Candy's getting forward here, but the Uber is going to come out of Irene right now. Candy's going to have to scatter. Nursey backing up onto Baz, should escape with her life for now, but they're going to lose some numbers. They've evened out the Ubers now, giving Nursey almost a full ad as she's coming up right here. Sky only at 5%, so hopefully they should be able to repush this once they get their numbers in. But Feint coming in, going to take out Kresnik. Means that no heavy on this push will be big. Bandy already behind up in tunnel, and I don't think K&D knows. Nursey and Aaron getting forward, still haven't used. Nursey gonna get launched forward, has the force. Sky running for her life, already out into the backfield. Eric chasing, not gonna find anything, and K&D only just now starting the cap. Means that Jared has time to walk back in, get spammed down, and maybe stall this a little bit longer.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. Doesn't really have his medic with him right now if they want to get some damage onto him, but with Bull being taken out, that's going to be a little bit hard. Demento being found out as well, and so they're probably going to have to just give this point back up right away. Just too many deaths in the process. With Space Ghost, no sniper up here for the defensive as well, and yeah, this leapfrogging seems to be favoring Irene. As Habib going way back, he's not going to be able to get the medic, and probably, no, he'll get out again. Habib has just been such a thorn in the side of K&D, and he's been so consistently going in, but he's also been getting out like half the time as well, which has just got to tilt you.
Yeah, I mean, when you have people going in and then getting out, nothing as a player makes me more frustrated. But Jacob's going to lead off with a stab onto 4. 20-second respawn along when Uber gets popped out here. Nursey at 99 will get in time. She's able to use Safe, Bull, and Kresnik. K&D is winning this fight in terms of point presence. Even numbers right now as Bull and Kresnik are both super forward. Kresnik starts to sticky up, but Bandy will take him out here. So actually, no, Irene's going to come out with the better collapse, running in here, finding frags onto K&D. Eric, Nursey, and Obliv still forward, but Feint coming in with the stab. Is he going to be able to find Nursey? Oh, she turns around at just the right time, but the rest of K&D's dying. She's going to get chased out and will go down eventually, so may as well have just died to that stab, shorten your respawn time by a little bit, but with only 30 seconds on the clock, K&D's going to need to pull off a lot here. Feint tries for the spawn camp, but Space Ghost actually found a shot onto Sky. Not sure where he was there, but that's the opening K&D needs here. There's a lot of time left on the clock if they want to prove that round was not just a flash in the pan, but oh, really good sneaky trap out of Jared's going to take down too. Bull and Nursey getting, or Bull and Kresnik getting aggro here. Nursey still back off, but Bull getting good damage and not being shot nearly as much as he should be for not having heals. And we see Banny in deep behind, finds the frag onto Nursey. Cap time is on. Bull's doing his best to get it, but he's only at 17 health. Will get taken out by Boar. The cap's gonna go through, but with so many players down on K&D and 2 minutes left, I don't think they can hold it.
Yeah, Sky gets a frag onto the scout, but it's going to be Etni chasing down the medic. He gets the frag.
Banny!
But Banny, with a sliver of health, literally down to 1 HP, gets annihilated finally. But Kresnik alone is going to use the Fist of Steel to get out here. The respawns are coming up from either side, but the heals are going to be a little bit further forward here for Nursey. And so while they can defend this, they cannot give it the point the rest of the way here. The grand finals are on the line right now, as Etni's going to go into a 1v1 in the tunnel against Habib. They're going to back out as he eats a flare. Oh no, but 2 big frags. Make that, I'm sorry, that's Etni and Habib coming down. And oh no, they're just dropping flares right now. Candy's going to have to step up big.
And he is not dying. He runs into Kresnik and is able to just slowly kill him. Carson coming up from behind finds even more kills. K&D is wiping, and with Irene in overtime, they're going to come in and cap this. 8-man strong on the point, and your RGL-HL Season 1 champions will be Irene.
Congratulations, as definitely K&D put up a fight. They finished the season in the first spot, just barely ahead of Irene. And it's pretty crazy to think that just Apollo Dash was also so close with Irene that we had 3 teams so far up there. But what a match, and we'll take this out to logs as we will dissect that.
Oh, Jarrett, 662 DPM, 32 and 9. Not even top fragging, as Banny was just a little bit above him with 34, but that stat line out of your demo man is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a 5.3 KDA. That's the highest in the game by a large margin, double anyone else's, I'm pretty sure. He just had an absolutely phenomenal game, really coming up clutch when it matters.
Yeah, and the funny thing is he even had slightly less heals than Bull, but not by a lot. But still, either way, I mean, interestingly enough, both medics about the same amount of deaths, a little bit more assists in the favor of Nursey, but ultimately, yeah, Jarrett just going absolutely huge. Besides that, I mean, I think Carson had a little bit of a better game compared to Kresnik. But you know, we're talking about Habib a lot, but Etney actually with 23 frags out-fragged Habib in that game. So it was just back and forth, but just really huge job out of Jarrett there, going so big with so much damage. But XL, man, actually, just real quick, I want to do a quick shout out here, guys. Thank you everyone for joining out here. We're going to do a quick dissect. If you guys, we have a exp.rgl.gg. We have a Highlander experimental cup. It's a 2-day cup. You can go sign up right now. It's completely free. So get some friends. There's also looking for team page, looking for players page. If you need to find some people to join up with you, that's exp.rgl.gg. And of course, we'll have the Prolander $4,000 grand finals next Monday. But XL, my man, what did you see in that best of 5 series?
Man, Candy was winning a lot of these mid fights coming into this game, and they were showing that they have the coordination to just win a lot of these fights. But it just showed that like the cohesion coming out of Irene and how powerful their combo was with players like Jared and Banny both just destroying and when it comes to kills over the rest of the people on the server. It just really showed how dominant they were. Jarrett, again, we said it so many times, going 32-9 with a damage of 662 overall in the entire server. That is an unbelievable stat line, but we also noticed a lot of like people on Irene, like their flank classes were getting a lot of stuff done too. Like also was pointing out how Beeb was just being like a complete nuisance behind them and just showing K&D that yeah, I exist. I'm a soldier and I will be pressuring you the entire game. Vanny just annoying the hell out of K&D. He was staying alive when he should have been dying. He was doing a lot of frags, he was getting so much done. He ended up just living through a lot of these fights.
All right,
And
or
yeah, I'll let you take it.
I don't want to cut you off here, Exile, but we're kind of feeling what K&D felt as we're currently getting swarmed by, I believe this is
Like, we got
all
a
nine
swarm.
Irene players coming into Mumble. We're gonna have, I guess, a full team interview coming in here, and let me go get those players unmuted right now. We have Speedy, Sky, Jordan, Jarrett, Habib. That is Boar, Billy, and finally Banny all coming in here. So congratulations, guys, on the win.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
It was a really well played game. So I mean, I think a lot of us, I know at least on the cast, were expecting this to go 3 maps. You know, with Upward being that first map for K&D. So real big surprise happened there. But you guys put it away in only 2. So I guess for the first question, I kind of want to continue this off of what Jarrett had said at the end of your guys' last match, where he thought this was going to come down to what maps were chosen. So how did you guys feel about the way the pick ban went and getting the maps that you did?
There was some discussion about what maps that we should end up banning. We considered for a small while banning Upward and playing Product instead, but I think we decided that
I
Upward,
was
yeah.
someone who thought that.
Yeah, Billy was very adamant about that, but we decided that collectively that, this was the best chance that we had to take it in 2 maps, and we didn't even need to necessarily take it in 2 maps per se anyway, because there's always the tiebreaker map to fall back on. So we just went with whatever we thought was stronger, despite losing on Upward previously in the season to them. And it looks like we made enough adjustments since then.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was a really dominant series. Right at the end there, I've been saying that last minute third hold you guys had with just everyone sitting getting in on card and really just not giving that up was really impressive to see. Just the amount of barely kind of small margin fights you guys were winning just to pull that out was, again, really impressive. So I guess following up on that, then were you guys expecting to win Upward, and were you expecting K&D to be better at Cascade, since I think that kind of took us by surprise, having seen your guys' first match against K&D on Cascade. I was expecting both ones to be fairly one-sided, but it felt like they were really pulling it together on Cascade at the end, and maybe if those first 2 rounds didn't count, it'd be a lot more interesting going forward, but fortunately they do. So yeah, I guess what are your thoughts on that?
Billy, how scared were you for Upward?
I wasn't scared. I was more so nervous. I felt like as I was saying in Mumble and a lot of places, I felt like Upward wasn't our strongest map, but we actually pulled it off and we did really well.
Yeah, you guys seem to do. I mean, Billy, yourself actually, you did a really good job blasting back Ubers and stuff like that. Like, what, just in general, like, how are you so consistently just in the right position? I mean, is it just like, I don't know. It's like every time an Uber came in, it seemed like you were right there to blast them back, and it even got like, how many cliff kills did you even get? It felt like 3 or 4.
I got 3 on Demento alone. I think they were all on Demento actually. No, one of them was on Bull where he went flying.
Yeah, that was a gravity cannon. That was like.
As to how I was in position, so I honestly couldn't tell you. I think I was just paying more attention this game than I usually do.
Yeah, and Sky, I mean, you had a pretty good game here. You went about even with Nursey. How did the game feel for you compared to what your expectations were coming in?
It was good. I am very afraid of Demento, and rightly so, because he killed me. I had 4 deaths in the second round of Upward, and they were all to him. So he crushed me, but otherwise I think I played pretty well. I was told to play very aggressively today by Habib, and that worked out.
Can
I
you
think.
be more specific?
Yeah, do you want to quote what
I
Habib
don't think I'm
said?
gonna.
Can
I'm not
you
gonna
say
say what he said.
exactly what he said?
I don't know about that one.
Is
There might be a TOS.
Yeah, he might not be allowed to.
All right, we'll let that remain unsaid, but I do want to shift over to Habib and Banny as well. So going into Cascade, we saw you guys playing really kind of flank heavy, going behind very frequently, getting really aggressive. Didn't always work out sometimes, but a lot of the times you guys were finding really key picks onto either Space Ghost or Nursey or even Bull at times. So was your game plan there to just go behind at every opportunity? Was there a little bit, more method to the madness? Were you expecting Candy to let you guys get behind as often as they did, or what's the story?
I was honestly just feeding, to be honest. Like, I was just taking every single fight behind them. Like, we would have the point. There's no reason for me to be aggressive. I'll get a buff, hit a whip, and then I'll just do a whip bomb super fast, deep, try to just get some sort of picks or damage off, and then just pressure so that they're even slower trying to walk up. It really slows them down. Or either that or I completely just kill them.
Yeah, we were just trying to look for whatever openings we could get, and we especially knew, the sniper pick would open it up for everyone, so we could all play more aggressive, and it's been a struggle for us all season to play more aggressive, so anytime we could pick the sniper, we'd really go for that. And yeah, we just did a really good job of sometimes even just faking that we were gonna go all in and just making them just spin around looking for us, just to buy time, because every second was very valuable in those rounds.
And I have a question for you. This is very, very random, but there was one point in the game where you guys controlled the point, and you were literally just sitting in tunnel, upper tunnel, AFK. Were you actually AFK, or were you just waiting to make for something to happen before you go in?
I have a mic issue where I have to re-enable it, so I did that in the middle of the match.
Okay, I wasn't
mic,
sure if there was some
robots
sort of
out.
Yeah, he
secret
starts to sound
strategy.
like Megatron. That's not very good for the comms.
I guess I kind of want to follow up on that a bit and say that I noticed the sun on the stick a couple times.
Yeah, it didn't really come into play, unfortunately, but I had a revelation the other day that it's perfect for Highlander.
Wait,
'Cause
that's
we
actually
never-
400 IQ.
We never build Uber, and just in case I might encounter some clueless player on fire, I could hit him for 80 damage, or escape. I don't know, but it didn't really come into play. There probably were some times where I forgot to use it when I was burning, to be honest. I need to practice with it more.
Just need to go into those pubs and just grind hard on the sun on the stick. Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
And
Sun
I
on
just
the
want to, if I can even say it, but the one thing I just want to point out too is just to your comment about killing the snipers. And maybe this has already been said, but you guys just dominated Space Ghost. 24 deaths. Space Ghost was third from the top in terms of deaths, whereas you see on the other side, Boar was pretty close to the bottom with only 15. So you guys, your focus on the sniper, especially on this map with just its crazy sight lines, really did work. And honestly, it was pretty crazy that that Space Ghost was able to do as well with that many deaths. Really shows that he might have been able to be a bigger impact if you guys weren't able to do that. But are you? I guess we're one question for you guys. So are you guys planning on coming back for some more season 2 in their spring season?
I don't
Unban
think we've
unban me
begun
from
to.
sevens.
I don't think we've begun to think
I'm
about
gonna
next season.
have
We've been
to
so
ask
focused.
people around and see what happens.
But yeah, it'd be
High
love to have you guys
possibility.
back and have a chance at defending the title for sure. Alto, any other questions you want to toss at these guys?
I guess since when you look at the logs, it's kind of the first thing that your eyes really get pulled to is Jarrett. You had a really monster game on Cascade there, 32-9, 650 DPM. I mean, did you guys realize something about Cascade? Is it a map that just plays really well with you? Is it something about the map just being really good for demos, or do you think it was just a product of you guys being so on the ball in terms of shutting down Space Ghost and so much aggression coming out from everywhere?
I changed the way I played last minute and removed the W key from my keyboard and let them run into my stickies, and that was pretty much it. I heavily baited everyone on my team with the idea that I'll be able to put out very consistent damage to help them die. So even when we were getting aggressive, I would just not move forward to make sure that no one could trade for me whatsoever in any circumstance. And it ended up working out. It was a lot of damage for people to clean up on.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess we're probably gonna start wrapping this up then. So I guess if you guys want to kind of go down the Mumble list in order and just say out any kind of closing thoughts, shout outs, thoughts on how RGL was this first season, and maybe improvements you'd like to see, or just anything that's on your mind. So I guess we'll start with Banny then.
Oh shit! What was the question?
Just closing
Shout-outs.
thoughts, shout outs, what you thought about the season.
Yeah, that was by far the best we've ever played as a team. So it was a really fun match. Actually, there were a lot of frustrations throughout the season, but everything came together. So it was a good grand final, and just shout out to you guys for running the league well, and especially making sure to promote the stream and all that. You guys seem to be killing it there.
Right, thank you for that, Billy.
Yeah, it was certainly the best season of Highlander I played so far.
Any shouts you want to give on top of that? I mean, I love my ego being stroked, but
I'd like to shout out my own stream,
Twitch TV/BillySource.
Billy Source TV.
There you go. Boar?
Shout out to Speedy for managing just about everything with our team, our scrims,
Yeah, shout out to Speedy.
matches, and he also played just about every class when we needed him to, and gave us moral support at the end for grand finals. Shout out to all the streamers as well. I saw over 5K at some point. It's pretty crazy.
Faint?
I just had a blast coming back. Thank you for hosting the lead. It was lots of fun.
Habib?
Yeah, shout outs to the wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. Shout outs to the team, shout outs to RGL, shout outs to the viewers, and shout outs to I think that's about it.
Jordan, my engineer brethren?
You're gonna jump over Jarrett?
Yeah, Jared doesn't matter.
I gave shout outs last time, and it'd be the same thing. It's to all the subs that played in regular season.
All right. I'll let it slide then. Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, just shout out to the team. It's one of the few seasons where I've actually won the whole thing as NG. So that's always cool. And then shout out to you guys for running the league.
But
Sky?
you guys, yeah, Sky.
Yeah, this is the first time I've played Highlander seriously in over 3 years. So it was really, a lot of fun. And shout outs to the team for playing really well tonight, for Speedy for benching himself, and to you guys for running the league.
Right, and then the man behind the power move himself, Speedy.
Shout out to my team for playing. Shout out for the subs, Ender and Zagron for playing. Shout out for Faint for showing up at the end of the season. And shout out to Cat Noises Sevens. It's gonna happen soon.
Yeah, right.
Well, we are, you guys have the grand finals
Yeah.
next week, so definitely be checking that out. As Banny, you're playing probably tomorrow for the dogs. Yeah, some of you guys are still got some RGL content going on here, but I guess I'll just say real quick, shout out to our boy Dolphin. It's been great all season long. We still have a couple casts left to go for Prolander, but he's been there, and excited that he got to have such viewership to be able to show off his great camera work. So make sure to toss some hearts into chat there for him. But my boy Alto, I'll let you give our final shout outs here.
All right. Yeah. Shout out to Sig, you guys, and all the admins behind RGL for having such a smooth first season, and really kind of stepping up. And I think, as the R in RGL stands for, really recharging the Highlander scene. Again, shout out to Dolphin for kind of being with me on all these casts this season, as all my casters were swarming around me, especially in the beginning. He's been the one constant there behind the scenes. Shout out to the Doris Highlander for all the good times, and shout out to Shu for making me who I am today. And I think that's gonna do it for us here. This was the RGL-HL Season 1 Grand Finals, where we saw Irene crowning themselves kings in a dominant victory over the kids next door, in a pretty strong 2-0, and they've now claimed first place, taken that sweet cash. And I think that'll be us for us here. So have a good night, and we'll see you next season.